Chapter 311. The Gold Grimoire's title page had changed greatly. The mystical runes formed a myriad of strange and mysterious patterns that faintly emitted a mysterious energy. It turned out that the patterns of the divine vision and counterfeit inherent skill had been greatly enriched. The counterfeit inherent skill now had the starry sky as its background, and the shadow seemed to be moving forward. It was gradually becoming invisible, but when he looked closely, it did not move at all. With divine vision, inherent skill, the shadow became darker, and the eyes shone brightly like stars. Right now, it gave Yu Yang a strange feeling, as if he was looking at the reflection of a mirror. The Gemini, inherent skill that he shared with Yu Bing had leveled up to level 4. Telepathic dialogue and eye exchange skills had a greater range. There were also some new skills that Yu Yang hadn't explored yet, but it wasn't clearly shown on the grimoire. What surprised Yu Yang the most was that there was actually a guardian beast under the special type Phantom Beast. Other warriors would only get one, or more accurately, they would only get one guardian beast. However, Yu Yang got the second reward. World, special type, platinum ranked level 1, chaotic body, domain form, guardian beast, eternal summon, skills, primal chaos, elemental domain. Could it be that this halo is a beast? Damn it! Yu Yang knew that the reward for leveling up this time was extremely powerful, but he didn't expect it to be this powerful. Although this world had nothing to do with the soaring dragon continent, and was only a special type beast, one could tell how powerful it was just from its name. How should this world be nurtured? It wasn't an animal nor a plant, so it couldn't be fed or given energy. Furthermore, this world wasn't summoned by Yu Yang himself. It was an existence that could be summoned by eternal summon. As long as the grimoire was summoned, it would exist at the same time. There was no need for Yu Yang to control it, and it wouldn't be controlled by Yu Yang's will. Just when Yu Yang didn't know what to do, he suddenly saw that more than half of the magic crystals that the thorny flower demoness sent back with her thorny flower had disappeared. When he took a closer look, he found that this domain-shaped world was absorbing the energy of the magical crystals at an extremely fast rate. By the time Yu Yang realized what was going on, he had only managed to snatch back the few magic crystals of the puppet generals and the puppet kings. The remaining hundreds of magic crystals of the puppet warriors, the fire ravens, and the tide giants were all drained of their energy by this domain-shaped world. They quickly shrunk and turned into ashes. Within the few heaven runes, the fire and water runes shone brightly, as if they had received a great amount of nourishment. The grimoire flashed with a golden light. The special type beast world had leveled up to platinum ranked level 2. It expanded outwards a little, and among the 4 revolving heaven runes, there was an additional metal attribute. It seemed that after absorbing the magic crystals of more than 500 puppet warriors, it had obtained the metal attribute. However, from Yu Yang's point of view, this heaven rune that represented gold was still the weakest one, because its light was the dimmest. Bloody Queen Red shot down like an arrow. Once she entered the range of the domain form world, she disappeared without a trace. Yu Yang was shocked. Could this world have absorbed the Bloody Queen Red as well? Not long after, the Bloody Queen Red flew out hurriedly and excitedly said to Yu Yang, "Beautiful, a new world. This is a door, it leads directly to the world inside." After hearing the Bloody Queen Red's excited description, although Yu Yang didn't understand everything, he finally understood a little. In the Gold Grimoire, a new world was born. It was very beautiful inside and very suitable for the Bloody Queen and the others to live in. As for the world inside the Divine Grimoire, it was too high level. The Bloody Queen Red couldn't enter and exit as she pleased. She needed little one Li's help to enter and exit. Moreover, because she wasn't strong enough, the Bloody Queen Red felt very inferior living in a world that was too high level. She was more willing to move back to the Gold Grimoire. A golden light flashed, and the pages of the grimoire turned automatically. The Bloody Queen Red really moved back to the Gold Grimoire. The Reaper Mantis was also very excited. It didn't have the qualifications to enter the world inside the Divine Grimoire, but it was very satisfied with the world inside the gold grimoire. As for the thorny flower demoness, she also moved back to the gold grimoire. Only little Wenli didn't move. It seemed like she was very comfortable living in the world inside the divine grimoire. She didn't intend to move back to the new world. Why can't I go in? Yu Yang was a little speechless. As a master, she couldn't enter the world inside her own grimoire. Wasn't this too pitiful? Forget about the divine grimoire. He couldn't even open it himself. But the gold grimoire was fine. When Yu Yang gathered his thoughts and wanted to enter the new world inside the gold grimoire, he suddenly felt that the beast world that looked like a halo of light was resisting his will, as if it wanted to stop him from entering. Could it be that he needed its permission to enter? Did this halo have its own consciousness? Yu Yang couldn't understand it no matter how he thought about it. Advanced, it's fine as long as you level it up to advanced. It's still forming inside. Chaos. The Bloody Queen Red expressed that the current grimoire world wasn't suitable for Yu Yang to live in. Yes, Little Wenli also nodded in agreement. After some understanding, Yu Yang found out that the world inside wasn't complete. There was probably no air, or the air was thin, or maybe it was just chaos. That's why he was rejected by the world that looked like a domain. This world was like a door to the world inside the gold grimoire. It was responsible for guiding the residents of that world in and out. It didn't have a consciousness, but its existence was like a law. All people or beasts that didn't meet the requirements couldn't enter. Even a master was no exception. Was it fine as long as he leveled up the gold grimoire to advanced? Yu Yang was overjoyed when he heard this. He obtained new beasts, leveled up his old abilities, and even had a small world that he could move into if the new world inside the gold grimoire could be inhabited. Then he would bring all the girls in. This way, he wouldn't need to be separated from them. He could return to reunite with them anytime. If something happened, he could also discuss countermeasures with them anytime. He wouldn't need to be separated like now. The most important thing was that they would be very safe in the grimoire world. As long as he was alive, they would be safe and sound. There was one thing that Yu Yang didn't understand. Was the world outside his beast, or the world inside the gold grimoire his beast? Could they be one? Was the world outside a halo that represented the grimoire world inside it? Yu Yang couldn't understand, but he was too lazy to think about it. There were a lot of things that he couldn't understand anyway. Looking at the original evaluation, it was different now. Level 4, Hero. You who have surpassed Hero has already started on the road to becoming a strong warrior. However, you must not be arrogant, because you have just taken the first step. This evaluation was no different from a normal level 4 Hero. What made Yu Yang different was that behind the level 4 Hero, there were two dark golden words innate. Compared to before, the dark golden words innate were slightly different. The two words now were formed by extremely fine heaven runes. The heaven runes inside could move and combine, but the shape of the two words innate would never change. If one didn't look carefully, they would only feel that the two words were flashing, emitting a dark golden light. It was extremely heavy. In front of the teleportation circle in the human shrine, there was a giant human king statue. This giant human king statue was tall and mighty. It wore a crown on its head, with one hand on its sword and the other in front of it, as if it was high-spirited and high-spirited. Yu Yang took out his crystal card and lightly swiped it across the giant human king statue's outstretched hand. Yu Yang only wanted to obtain the reward for clearing the trial, but he didn't expect that with this swipe, the entire giant human king statue would immediately collapse, shattering into pieces of rocks on the ground. Yu Yang searched for a long time before he found a black pearl. He used his heaven eyes divine vision to look at it and immediately felt dizzy. Human King Pearl. Fake the holder can possess the dignity of a human king for 10 seconds. Can only be used once. He really wanted to vomit blood. It was fine if it was a consumable item, but why did it have the word fake? After painstakingly clearing the trial, what he got was actually a fake product. Yu Yang was really speechless. Luckily, his reward for leveling up was not bad. Otherwise, he would be depressed to death. If it was someone else, after narrowly clearing the trial and obtaining a fake human king pearl, it would be strange if they didn't cry. No wonder there were so few people challenging the 3 world shrines. with such a bad reward. Only people with a headache would come here to challenge. If Yu Yang had known it would be like this, he wouldn't have come. Of course, obtaining a fake human king pearl was not his goal. His main goal was to level up his grimoire and obtain the ancient code's reward. As long as he could level up his grimoire to a high-level gold grimoire, he would be able to enter the new world. Yu Yang tossed the fake human king pearl in his hand and teleported to the Earth Shrine. He originally thought that the Human Shrine challenge was already abnormal enough, but he didn't expect it to be nothing compared to the Earth Shrine. In front of Yu Yang, 300 storm demonic wolves, 300 lightning demonic leopards, and 300 flaming lions were running towards him. They had different sizes and abilities, but they were all silver-ranked level 5. There were even 30 silver-ranked level 8 wolf kings and 30 silver-ranked level 8 lions. In the sky, giant eagles were circling. In the faraway lake, lake crocodiles were floating and sinking. Without exception, they were all silver-ranked level 5. Not only were the Earth Shrines beasts stronger than the human shrines, their numbers were also greater. Other than Yu Yang, other warriors who were below level 6 Elder would probably be annihilated if they met with this kind of situation. Different from the human shrine, warriors who passed the trial had to swim across the lake regardless of whether they were escaping or clearing the trial. Under the siege of almost 1,000 terrifying beasts, even warriors who managed to escape into the lake would not be able to escape from the attack of the lake crocodiles. Not to mention that there were giant eagles swooping down from the sky at any time. Yu Yang cursed in his heart. Who the hell designed this lousy instance dungeon? The difficulty of clearing the trial is so high, the boss's abilities are so abnormal, and the reward is a fake human king pearl. I'm going to make a phone call to complain about you. Even with the help of Little One Li and the others, it took a lot of effort to clear this stage. Beasts weren't puppets. Puppets didn't have any intelligence. Even if their defense was slightly better, their agility, skills, and abilities were far inferior to beasts. The barbarian cow shadow on man was bathed in blood. The Reaper Mantis was so tired that its sides were trembling. The bloody Queen Red was panting heavily. Only the extremely powerful Little One Li wasn't injured. The Gold Tiger Shark was the first to be injured. It had killed more than 10 lake crocodiles, but there were too many lake crocodiles. It was almost killed by them. Luckily, its master, the stone element Medusa, saved it in time. The Storm Mermaid summoned a gigantic storm, almost drowning the entire Earth Shrine. The Thunder Naga summoned lightning. She killed and injured the Wolf King and the male lion, and scattered the wolf pack and lion pack. A man, who was strengthened by the giant shadow, stepped on the knee-deep water, crazily slaughtering the wolf pack and lion pack that had lost their ability to run. The fresh blood from the massacre dyed the water in the entire Earth Shrine red. When Man and Red killed the last Storm Demon Wolf together and returned to Yu Yang, Yu Yang's gold grimoire had leveled up again. From a beginner gold grimoire to an intermediate gold grimoire. The biggest reward wasn't the leveling up of the grimoire, but Yu Yang's long-awaited wish had finally come true. The Thorny Flower Demon Flower had finally evolved into the Golden Crown Thorny Flower Queen, that Yu Yang had been thirsty for a long time under the help of countless battles and the help of digesting super rankers. Looking at the green light on her body, shooting towards the sky, Yu Yang, who had trained her single-handedly, felt an indescribable sense of achievement. After more than a year of training, he had finally succeeded. Chapter 312. A jade-green light shot up to the sky. Faint rainbows surrounded the surroundings as countless thorny flowers sprouted from the ground, waiting for the thorny flower demoness who was floating in midair. Between heaven and earth, an indescribable fragrance appeared. It was fragrant and refreshing, as if one only needed to take a deep breath to purify their entire body. There were snow-like flower petals dancing in the air, swirling around the thorny flower demoness and the green light pillar as if they were alive. The rainbows on the green light pillar hung down from the sky, forming a bridge of rainbows. There were also firefly-like lights floating around. Little by little, when the energy reached its peak and fell back down, the white light shot out, illuminating the entire earth shrine, making the earth shrine as bright as day. When the white light disappeared, the darkness returned. An even more fragrant and strong fragrance came, as if there was a heavenly melody singing or a girl whispering among the flowers. A resonance resonated in the bottom of his heart, lasting for a long time. Yu Yang felt a warm, fragrant, and soft girl's body pouncing into his embrace. Under his touch, he felt that the other party's body was completely naked. Her skin was soft and smooth like jade, giving him an indescribable feeling. On his face, hot lips, as soft as flower petals, kissed him passionately the moment he hugged him. This fragrant and warm body made Yu Yang feel both familiar and strange at the same time. Was it the thorny flower demoness? No, it should be the one who had successfully evolved into the golden-crowned thorny flower queen. When Yu Yang's eyes recovered from the piercingly cold white light, he saw a flawless female body in front of him. This body was different from the bodies of all the girls Yu Yang had seen before, but they were not the same. Each had their own merits. Snow white like jade, delicate and fragile. It was not even enough to form the golden-crowned thorny flower queen's skin. Looking at her appearance, Yu Yang felt that this golden-crowned thorny flower queen looked a little like Shui Wuxia, and also a little like City Mistress Fallen Flowers. She even looked a little like Princess Sisai and Yu Yu. She was different from them, but she had combined some of their outstanding features to form her own unique and beautiful face. This face was breathtakingly beautiful, so beautiful that it made people sigh. Her light green hair, which was like a bud, was wearing a corolla composed of purplish-green vines, emerald green branches, and budding flower buds as her crown. The corolla emitted rays of golden light, like a halo above the Virgin Mary's head. However, her golden light was not circular. Instead, it scattered outwards in a perfect arc. Yu Yang dared to say that this was the most beautiful, natural, and flawless crown he had ever seen in his life. Only she, the golden-crowned thorny flower queen, had this kind of flower crown. Under the beautiful corolla was a tender and beautiful face. Her smile made anyone who saw her feel like they were bathing in the spring breeze. However, her sapphire-like eyes were only looking at Yu Yang. Her smile was also only because of him. I have awakened my intelligence. The golden-crowned thorny flower queen spoke in fluent human language. It was pleasant to the ears. Have you evolved into a holy beast? Yu Yang secretly swallowed a mouthful of saliva. This golden-crowned thorny flower queen was not wearing anything on her body. Her naked body was too alluring. If it wasn't for little one Li, Red Man watching, he might not be able to resist pushing this thorny flower queen down. Under that perfect swan-like neck was a pair of round and small shoulders. It made her look a little weak, making people feel pity for her. He had the urge to hug her and protect her. The holy maiden's breasts in front of him did not look like a weak girl. Her breasts were protruding. Her snow-white skin and cherry-red fruits made Yu Yang feel like his nose was about to bleed when he saw her. Because she was tall and straight, her cleavage was deep. She floated in front of Yu Yang motionlessly. That bouncy pink snowball also trembled slightly. This was definitely the legendary breast trembling. Yu Yang had watched countless Japanese action movies. It could be said that he had seen countless women, so he had a certain resistance towards women's bodies. However, in front of the golden-crowned thorny flower queen, those were all fleeting clouds. Her lower abdomen was as perfect as a demon, her slender waist that could be held with one arm, her round and deep navel, as well as the faint green grass under her lower abdomen, half covering the mysterious and delicate pink flower petals between her legs. This was because the golden-crowned thorny flower queen was currently floating in front of Yu Yang. Yu Yang, who had sharp eyesight and an extremely perverted heart, had only cast a casual glance at her, and he had already engraved this beautiful thing into his heart. It was too perfect. On the surface, Yu Yang had to pretend to be an obedient child. The current golden-crowned thorny flower queen was no longer like before. She was a 15 or 16-year-old young girl. Now, her body was already that of an 18 or 19-year-old young girl. She was no longer the little flower bud that was about to bloom, but a blossoming young girl that was waiting to be plucked. She had everything that a girl needed to grow up to be. She was even more perfect and seductive than most girls in this world. I am now a bronze-ranked, level 1 golden crown thorny flower queen. However, according to another way of saying it, I am a first-rank holy beast. I should also be called a 1-star holy beast. I am the same as Sister Hong, who is the Bloody Queen. If Sister Aman awakens her intelligence in the future, she will also be the same as me. The golden crown thorny flower queen suddenly felt extremely touched as she bent down and floated into Yu Yang's embrace. She hugged Yu Yang tightly and sobbed with tearful eyes. My previous memories have disappeared, but I will never forget the process of you painstakingly nurturing me. You're like the sun, giving me energy. In the past, I couldn't feel everything that you gave me, but now I feel an incomparable warmth from your body. Cough, cough. You should put on your clothes first. Yu Yang felt that the Bloody Queen Red's gaze was filled with jealousy. Little one, Li was even more jealous. She hurriedly patted the golden crown thorny flower queen's jade back and conjured a set of Yu Bing's clothes for her. The golden crown thorny flower queen's body flashed with a colorful light. Beautiful flower petals grew from her back and ribs, gently wrapping around her chest and her buttocks, gently wrapping around the most mysterious part of a woman. Using this incomparable and unparalleled flowery dress to cover her body, it made her even more sexy and charming. Behind her back, 2 rainbow-like bands of light extended out. They were faint and about 2 meters long, as if they were the wings of the Bloody Queen Red. They gently shook, causing the golden crown thorny flower queen to stand in the void like a fairy. She turned around and smiled sweetly at the flabbergasted Yu Yang. It's a pity that I'm only bronze-ranked level 1 now. I can't maintain a fully grown appearance for a long time. After saying that, she disappeared into the green light. Gradually, she shrunk. In the end, she actually turned into a 10-year-old little lowly. Her appearance didn't change, but she had a kind of immature cuteness of a little lowly. She then took the clothes from Yu Yang's hands and put on Yu Bing's clothes. The clothes that were a few sizes bigger on her body looked extremely cute. Yu Yang couldn't help but stretch out his hand and lightly pinched her face. After the golden crown thorny flower queen finished putting on the clothes, she suddenly greeted little Wen Li with an innate etiquette, as if she was expressing her respect to little Wen Li. Little Wen Li slightly returned the etiquette. Although little Wen Li was young, no matter if it was in Yu Yang's heart or among the many beasts, she was the absolute boss. When the golden crown thorny flower queen greeted Bloody Queen Red and barbarian Cow Shadow Aman, they didn't return the etiquette lightly like little Wen Li. They returned the etiquette more seriously, paying their respects to each other. Yu Yang didn't understand this etiquette, but he understood that this seemed to be the etiquette between holy beasts and innates. He remembered that Elder Nangong had also bowed to him like this before. Give me a drop of blood, too. I want it to become my eternal life imprint in my hibernation. I want to be like Sister Red and become your guardian beast. We will be together forever. The golden crown thorny flower queen opened her mouth and lightly bit Yu Yang's finger. She used her little white teeth to bite out a drop of blood and gently sucked it. Her body started to emit waves of golden light. Following that, she floated into the grimoire and continued to hibernate and evolve in the new world. Yu Yang was surprised and turned to ask little Wen Li, "Can a guardian bee sign a contract on its own?" Little Wen Li immediately shook her head, indicating that it was impossible. Bloody Queen Red muttered to herself and said uncertainly, "Maybe your blood is an exception. That's why it can be done. It's in my soul imprint that your blood can complete the soul blood contract. That's something that only gods can do." Yu Yang had heard about the soul blood contract from Queen Vivian Li. He had also heard from the pitiful guy's mother that this was the 5th evolution path of a beast from the mysterious notes and inheritance of knowledge. He knew that his blood was very special. It could be because he had crossed over, or because he had trained in the innate invisible sword chi. It could even be because the old Taoist priest had kicked him to compensate him. It could even be because he was a descendant of Yan Huang. However, Yu Yang didn't think about these reasons for now. He only wanted to know one thing. Did gods really exist? Was this Tong Tian Tower really built by gods? Where did gods live? In a heaven realm? Or in a higher realm? Yu Yang asked little Wen Li, do gods really exist? Little Wen Li still shook her head. Yu Yang didn't know if she meant that she didn't know or didn't exist. She suddenly smiled at Yu Yang. Although she didn't say anything, Yu Yang understood what this little girl meant. She was saying that no matter what, even if they really had to face a god, she would accompany him and fight together. Because he was touched, Yu Yang picked Xiao Wenli up and hugged her in his arms. He happily kissed her. Red and Man walked over and snuggled up to Yu Yang. Their expressions were gentle and dependent. Man was still a bit away from awakening the intelligence of a holy beast. Although her intelligence was high, her EQ wasn't very high. She wouldn't be jealous or hate. She only imitated Bloody Queen Red and Little Wen Li being intimate with her master. Compared to Bloody Queen Red, she was clumsier, like a silly girl who didn't know anything. However, compared to the Reaper Mantis, Man's intelligence was much better. As the Bloody Queen Red, she was completely different. She had already awakened the intelligence of a holy beast. She was even smarter than the Golden Crown Thorny Flower Queen who had just awakened her intelligence and became a holy beast. She knew more about the matters between men and women. She had seen Yu Yang and Sickly Beauty's love, as well as his life with the other girls. Gradually, with her high intelligence, she understood more emotions and evolved more and more like a human. Maybe she would never become a human girl, but she could be infinitely close to a human girl, no matter if it was her body, thoughts, or emotions. When Yu Yang kissed Xiao Wenli, she also sneakily peeked her head over. Her beautiful face was blushing as she quickly kissed Yu Yang's cheek to express the happiness in her heart. She also felt a trace of love that was born in her soul. She didn't say it out loud like the Golden Crown Thorny Flower Queen. However, in her heart, they were all the same. She longed to be with him forever, no matter in battle or in life. Beasts could never become humans. However, beasts could continuously evolve and become infinitely close to humans. The prerequisite was that the beasts could continue to evolve with the help of their master. Let's continue to challenge the next hall. When Yu Yang came out from the land of warmth, he realized that the magic crystals had all been absorbed by the domain form world. He couldn't help but sweat profusely. Thousands of magic crystals had been wasted just like that. After absorbing thousands of magic crystals, the world had leveled up to platinum-ranked level 3. The domain form of light had expanded by almost half a meter. At the same time, the heaven runes inside had become brighter and richer. However, to let it absorb magic crystals to evolve to its peak, it would probably be more difficult than using magic crystals to fill up the ocean. Yes. After being kissed by Yu Yang, little Wen Li's face was completely red. She seemed to know how to be shy, but the little lowly was still obedient. Chapter 3:13. After passing through the Earth Shrine, Yu Yang obtained another ground-splitting pearl, but it was still a fake imitation. Ground-splitting pearl. Fake. The wielder can shake the ground within 100 meters, destroying all structures on the ground. Limited to one use only. Yu Yang was speechless when he saw this. He had to kill 1,000 strong beasts in order to obtain a shoddy earth-opening pearl. Who was the one who designed this damned reward? It was fine if it was fake, but it could only be used once. What a pain in the ass. If he had a phone, Yu Yang would definitely call to complain. He guessed that the next Sky Shrine, the reward would also be a fake sky-splitting pearl. Not to mention that the 3 world shrines were hard to challenge. The rewards were also very little. Compared to the 12 zodiac temples, this was simply a challenge for a miser. When Yu Yang was teleported to the Sky Hall of the 3rd stage, he almost fell to the ground. In the Sky Shrine, there were no 3 types of beasts like the Earth Shrine and the Human Shrine. There were only 2 types. They were the Sky and the Demon Abyss. The ground was like a demon abyss, with demonic swamp dragons appearing and disappearing from time to time. They looked like 9-headed monsters with only 4 limbs. They had fins on their backs and were extremely good at swimming. They had no claws, fat bodies, huge heads, green eyes, and a snake's tongue. Looking at them, there were at least 30 of them, all of them gold rank level 5. In the middle of the demon abyss blood pool, there were scattered fallen wyverns. Their bodies were covered in black smoke, and there were no less than 20 of them. They were also gold ranked level 5. Further away from the blood pool, there were also tall demons that were about 5 meters tall. They were all holding blood scythes. They were similar to demon kings, but different. They were only gold ranked level 5. There were 6 of them. One of the demon leaders seemed to be an intelligent creature, reaching gold ranked level 6. This was just the ground of the demon abyss. In the sky above his head, there was a different scene. There were many white clouds in the sky, shining brightly. There were white-robed avians with wings on their backs, holding bows, scepters, and swords in their hands, circling back and forth. In the lead, there was a white-robed birdman hugging a silver harp and playing it. There seemed to be someone singing, but Yu Yang could not understand a single word. Other than the wings on their backs, these white-robed avians looked no different from humans. The only difference was that they were all wearing green bay leaves as their headwear. Yu Yang couldn't agree with their actions. Seeing these white-robed avian wearing green hats so professionally and happily, Yu Yang felt a chill down his spine. What the hell was going on? With the birdman and the demon together, how could the two of them not fight? Just when Yu Yang was dumbstruck and unable to react, the demon chief suddenly came over. He mumbled a bunch of gibberish. Yu Yang knew that this was the language of the Devil Abyss, but he couldn't understand it. Actually, Yu Yang could understand 3 languages of the Devil Abyss, recognize 2 types of words, and even write one. This was the result of his strong memory. If not for the limited time, he could have learned even more. However, he had never heard this kind of Devil Abyss language before. Luckily, there was Bloody Queen Red. She was a very qualified translator. This demon said that they had been sealed in this space for a long time, unable to leave this place. If we can help them leave, then they will give us the treasure, Blood-Sucking Pearl. His request is for us to join hands with him, fly up to the sky, and shoot down all the avians in the sky, exterminating them all. He also said that if we choose to be neutral and not participate in the battle, then he will let us go to the teleportation circle and allow us to leave. In the sky, the white-robed avian carrying the silver harp flew down beautifully. Using the language of the soaring dragon continent, he arrogantly said, "Hesitant human warrior, I have to warn you, you are falling into the abyss of evil. Young man, it is not a good thing to be too close to the demon. Quickly come to your senses, stay away from the demon, and return to our side of justice." Your beast seems to be a holy beast? Seeing that Yu Yang had a holy beast, this white-robed avian's attitude became slightly better. However, he was still rather arrogant. The way he looked at Yu Yang was as if he was looking at a nouveau riche, or like a noble young master looking at a rich country bumpkin. In short, deep down in his bones, he had a deep sense of superiority and arrogance. If not for our abilities being sealed, we, the noble gods' envoys from the heaven realm, would not have been confined in this dirty and narrow place. Human warrior, I will now bestow upon you a glorious gift, a glory that 18 generations of your descendants will never be able to enjoy. Immediately assist us, kill these demons, and let us remove the seal on our bodies. As long as we regain our freedom and return to the heaven realm, then I will bestow upon you a chance to accept you as a God's servant and bring you to the eternal and blissful heaven realm. When the white-robed avian carrying the silver harp said this, Yu Yang revealed a smile. This smile was brighter than the sun. In the depths of the smile, an extremely cold, killing intent was hidden, but it was not revealed on the surface. At this moment, his level 5 counterfeit inherent skill was displayed to the extreme. Forget about the white-robed avian and the demon chief. Even Yu Yang himself admired himself a little. Acting emperor and whatnot were just fleeting clouds. A fake smile was the way of the king. Yu Yang asked with a smile, "Before I make my decision, I want to ask the two of you a question. Why don't you fight with each other?" The white-robed avian carrying the silver harp berated Yu Yang angrily. Foolish human, to actually compare us noble gods' envoys with demons. This is the most ear-piercing and unacceptable insult I have ever heard. On the contrary, the demon chief sneered. Stop acting like a whore, disgusting dog, *T. I have already forgotten how many batches of avian have you been sealed in here. In these 1,000 years, I've already killed countless idiotic avian like you. Even though every time I kill, there will always be new replacements, but your disgusting face makes me want to fuck you. The demon chief flew over and raised his blood scythe. A heavy slash. Seeing this, the white-robed avian carrying the silver harp immediately flapped his wings, dodging the attack at an extremely fast speed, and flew into the sky. He sneered, "Dirty creature, you think you're worthy of touching me? Even a pure white feather on my body is 100 times more noble than your entire body. If you have the ability, then fly up and fight with me. If not for the restriction of the law, you Birdman can forget about escaping." The demon chief hatefully stomped on the ground, shaking the blood pool in the distance. I have more or less understood the situation. What it means is that I will decide which side to join and defeat the opponent. Then I will be able to obtain that side's reward. The reward from the demon side is the blood-sucking pearl. From the name, it doesn't sound like anything good. The reward from the avian side is to become a god servant. To be honest, this young master has no interest in becoming a slave. Before Yu Yang could finish speaking, the white-robed avian carrying the silver harp suddenly screamed and angrily roared at Yu Yang. "What? Damned human, stupid ant, lowly creature, you actually dare to insult us, a noble god's envoy, with your mouth. Let me tell you, you stupid human, you will receive the greatest punishment. This is the anger of a god's dignity. I order you to crawl under my feet and kowtow to me to beg for mercy. If not, I will fly into a rage and use my divine light to destroy you." All right, I originally wanted to let you live a little longer. Yu Yang really wanted to understand more about the heaven realm. However, from the looks of it, this white-robed avian would not shed a tear until he saw his coffin. He had a holy beast, yet he still dared to be arrogant. He really didn't know if he was ignorant or born retarded. Bloody Queen Red wanted to kill this white-robed avian just now. This fellow actually dared to use words to insult her own master. Forget about the fact that this avian only had the strength of a gold-ranked level 6. Even if he was platinum-ranked level 6 or diamond-ranked level 6, she would still kill him without hesitation. Bloody Queen Red had never seen anyone who dared to be so arrogant. He actually dared to insult her own master. A dignified innate ranker actually scolded a gold-ranked level 6 avian as a lowly creature, scolded as a stupid ant. Listening to it, she really couldn't suppress the evil fire in her heart. Dying. Bloody Queen Red was so angry that even her eyes had turned red. She soared into the sky, her gold-ranked dragon slaying dagger and I destroyer dagger striking out at the same time. Summon. The white-robed avian calmly prepared to summon his grimoire. However, his movements froze. Little Wan Li had unknowingly appeared behind him. Little Wan Li, who had learned how to teleport, used her binding inherent skill to launch a surprise attack on the enemy. Even the great emperor of Ziwei, Shun Tian, and the blood prison great demon King Baruth, who were at the level of a gold-ranked level 6, did not dare to let their guard down, let alone a white-robed avian whose true strength had been sealed. The dual icicle blades pierced deeply into the avian's back. Bloody Queen Red, who was strengthened by Giant Shadow, flew in front of the white-robed avian like lightning. The banshee screeched. The white-robed avian instantly fell into a state of dizziness. The gold-ranked dragon slaying dagger and eye destroyer dagger pierced deeply into the area between his eyebrows and his left eye. Little Wan Li swung her tail and lashed at the white-robed avian's back like a whip. A meteor fell to the ground with a loud bang. It shook the ground nonstop. Kill. A man, who was holding the crescent blade in her left hand, or the golden lion shield, leaped up high and roared like thunder. Her crescent blade heavily slashed at the white-robed avian's head. After one strike, she felt that it was not enough. She raised the golden lion shield and heavily smashed it on the white-robed avian's spine. Although his strength was sealed, the white-robed avian's life force was the same as before it was sealed. Yu Yang could see with his level 5 divine vision that before he was sealed, this white-robed avian was not weaker than Machi Su Ling. He might have already reached innate level 5. However, after being sealed, the white-robed avian did not even have 1,000th of his battle power left. Forget about Little One Li, Red, and Man joining hands. Even if Fatty High's Thunder Mammoth, Silver Horned Rhinoceros, and Little Hippopotamus joined hands, it would still be enough to make him suffer. Although he was not dead, he was already heavily injured. If he was not saved immediately, he would definitely die. In the sky, those gold-ranked level 5 white-robed avian were stunned when they saw that their leader was attacked and fell to the ground. Then, they immediately swooped down and prepared to save him. Roar! That demon chief was also dumbstruck. He never thought that Yu Yang would make a move on his mortal enemy. When he regained his senses, he immediately roared loudly. The demonic swamp dragons in the blood swamp raised their heads and spat venom towards the sky. On the other hand, the corrupted flying dragons soared into the sky and faced those white-robed avian who swooped down. The other 5 demons also threw out their black spears with all their might. These spears seemed to be specially made to deal with the white-robed avian. Both sides fought intensely, but Yu Yang did not care at all. The white-robed avian that flew closer were all intercepted by the Bloody Queen. She pierced their hearts and killed them in the sky. One by one, the avian fell to the ground. If they met Little One Li, the avian would be even more tragic. Little One Li was the kind of rancor who could swing her blade. With a single slash, a human head would fly into the sky. Without their leader, the avian team was utterly defeated. Although the avian leader was still struggling with all his might, he was no match for Man's limitless strength. Man first sent the gold-ranked harp flying with a kick. She then forcefully grabbed the avian leader with both hands and threw him heavily in front of Yu Yang. Just as he fell into Yu Yang's world, the avian leader started to howl miserably in pain. In this special domain of Beast's world, his energy was continuously being absorbed. There was no possibility of him struggling at all. In the sky, a sword-wielding avian wanted to fly up to help, but when he saw this situation, he immediately flew up and hid far away. Some avian that used bows and arrows aimed at Yu Yang. Without needing Yu Yang to deal with it, the Bloody Queen Red had already used her flame whip and ruthlessly whipped the back of the avian that had knocked an arrow. When he fell to the ground, the barbarian cow's shadow on Man punched out. Suddenly, a red light flashed in her eyes. Doom's eyes was activated, instantly killing that avian. Half an hour later, the battle ended. The Bloody Queen, Little One Li, and the barbarian cow's shadow killed the most avians, followed by the demon chief and his 5 subordinates. The corrupted wyverns only surrounded and killed a few. As for the demonic swamp dragons, they only killed 2 injured avians. On the demon side, there were only 8 or 9 demonic swamp dragons and 12 or 13 corrupted wyverns that were riddled with wounds. After all the avians died, the 5 demons and the demon chief released their seals and regained their original strength. The 5 demons were all lesser innate rankers. As for the demon chief, who could speak, he was an innate level 5 ranker. He coldly stared at Yu Yang with a condescending attitude for a long time before finally speaking. Because of the restrictions of the ancient code, human, I am willing to fulfill my promise this time. I can give you the blood-sucking pearl, but you must immediately send all the corpses here. Young human, don't be greedy for items that don't belong to you. I admit that you are a rancor with potential, and you also have a strong beast. However, our strength is not something that you can shake now. Take the blood-sucking pearl and complete the Sky Shrine's mission. Leave this place immediately. This place is no longer a place for humans to challenge. Roar, roar, roar. The other 5 demons who had regained their lesser innate strength all roared at Yu Yang, telling Yu Yang to scram. In front of Yu Yang, there were more than 30 avians' corpses piled up. Among them, the white pearl that was dug out from the avian leader's brain had already been kept by Yu Yang into his lich ring. He had also kept the gold-ranked harp. To the demons, Yu Yang's actions were tantamount to embezzling their spoils of war. This was an unforgivable act. If it was just now, when the demons were still gold-ranked level 5, they would be helpless. But now, they had regained their lesser innate strength. Even the demon chief had regained his innate level 5 strength. No matter how strong this human male was, he was not enough. Based on the ancient code, they could not go against the ancient code to kill him, but expelling him was definitely not a problem. With regards to the demon chief's warning and the 5 demons expelling him, Yu Yang smiled once again. Just like the smile he gave to the avian leader just now, his killing intent was hidden deep, cold as ice. That's more interesting. I'm not interested in the blood-sucking pearl, but I wouldn't mind having more of your demon hearts. Yu Yang snapped his fingers and summoned the sleepy golden crown thorny flower queen. The little lowly queen looked a little drowsy. Golden crown thorny flower queen? When the demon chief saw it, his pupils immediately contracted. It was obvious that he knew what his nemesis was. Chapter 314. Compared to the innate level 5 demon leader, the few lesser innate level demons were much slower. When the golden crown thorny flower queen appeared, they did not recognize her at first. However, when the leader said so, they immediately turned pale with fright and prepared to fight. The golden crown thorny flower queen was the eternal nightmare of the demon abyss. Her existence was not only a strong enemy, she was also a higher-level predator. Even if a poisonous snake ran amok on the ground, once it was targeted by the giant eagle in the sky, it would only be a dead end, because it was its natural predator. Like the corrupted wyvern, it did not dare to fight. Once it reacted, it immediately flapped its wings and retreated. The demonic swamp dragons in the blood pool sank one after another. If they had enough intelligence, they wouldn't have done this. This was because to the golden crown thorny flower queen, hiding in the blood pool was completely useless. This was because the thorny flower would directly drill out of the blood pool and devour them like fish in water. Don't panic. It's just a bronze-ranked level 1 golden crown thorny flower queen. The demon leader nervously swallowed his saliva and scolded his subordinates. Fortunately, this was a newly nurtured queen, and she looked like a little girl. If she was allowed to grow and reach her peak, there would be no need to fight this battle. The few lesser innate demons reacted and felt ashamed. They roared angrily. Just now, the golden crown thorny flower queen was scared to death. Now that they realized that she was not as scary as the rumors said, they immediately became serious. Of course, if they had to face the golden crown thorny flower queen alone, they would definitely not do it. They did not even need to fight. They knew that they were definitely not the thorny flower queen's match alone. Roar, roar. The few demons roared at each other and prepared to rush forward and attack the golden crown thorny flower queen. Where is this? Did I arrive at the demon abyss after a nap? It's not the blood prison demon king. Forget it. These are not bad fertilizer. The golden crown thorny flower queen was still a little confused. When she saw the demon innates and lesser innates in front of her, she thought that Yu Yang had arrived at the demon abyss. Human experts. In this battle, both of us will suffer heavy losses. Why don't we split the spoils? You get your spoils, we get ours. As for the white cloud fortress in the sky, we will split it 50-50. After this, you can complete the challenge and leave. Before we leave the heavenly palace, we will give you the blood-sucking pearl as a gift. The innate level 5 demon chief took out a blood-red bewitching pearl and said sincerely, suggesting that both sides should share the spoils of war. According to his calculations, Yu Yang would have a slight advantage, because Yu Yang's side had killed more birdmen. Good idea. Without waiting for Bloody Queen Red to finish translating, Yu Yang nodded his head and happily agreed to this suggestion. We'll sign a devil contract and never go back on it. The demon leader then took out a blood-red contract scroll and a demon fingerbone pen with a small skull embedded at the top. Of course, signing the contract is the beginning of a good cooperation. Yu Yang suddenly smiled again. The demon leader felt that this kid's smile was even scarier than his own. This kid was clearly smiling brightly like the sun. However, there was a kind of demonic feeling. It seemed to be cold and evil at the same time. It rose from the tailbone all the way to the spine, causing his entire back to feel cold. The demon chief first wrote his name on the devil contract, then threw it to Yu Yang. Yu Yang didn't even bother to look at the terms and conditions on the demon card. Instead, he confidently waved his pen and signed a name. Titan. That's right, this was the name he registered in the mercenary guild. It was also the name he used to enter Tong Tian Tower. Was this name important? No, the important thing was to sign the devil contract. After signing the devil contract, both parties would become allies. Since they were allies, they would no longer be restricted by the ancient code of the Sky Shrine. Only challengers would receive the protection of the ancient code. Challengers had the right to start a war, and after winning, they would not be harmed until they left the Sky Shrine. The demon chief thought that this kid's beasts were very strong, but he himself was only a warrior below level 6 in the Soaring Dragon Continent. In other words, he could easily kill him with one finger. When the demon contract signed by both sides shone and ignited into a ball of flames, the demon leader smiled sinisterly. Betraying an ally was a despicable act. However, he was a demon himself. Betraying an ally? What was wrong with that? Demons were inherently evil. The devil contract is dripping blood. Yu Yang looked at the devil contract burning in the air and saw drops of black blood dripping from it. According to the knowledge inherited from the pitiful guy's mother, Yu Yang obviously knew what this meant. You guys have unilaterally destroyed the devil contract just now. You guys want to kill me? That's right. Before the demon chief could finish his words, the blood scythe had already reached Yu Yang's neck. I like your honesty, and I like your straightforwardness even more. Since it's like this, I'll grant you an intact corpse. Yu Yang smiled indifferently. He raised his right hand slightly, and the golden beast on his right wrist transformed into a strange sword with mysterious runes, blocking in front of Yu Yang's neck. Under the law of space, he could not attack, but he could defend. The gold-ranked blood scythe was incomparably sharp. It slashed down. However, the handle of the scythe brushed past the tip of Yu Yang's nose. A strong gust of wind blew Yu Yang's hair. As his hair fluttered, Yu Yang's eyes revealed a mocking smile. The second half of the blood scythe strangely stopped at the side of Yu Yang's neck. It fell silently and finally landed on the ground with a ding. The demon chief's expression changed greatly. He looked at the broken scythe in his hand in disbelief. This was a gold-ranked treasure, indestructible. But now, it was cut in half by the opponent's sword. What was going on? Suddenly, he came to his senses and pointed at the strange sword in Yu Yang's hand that had transformed from the golden beast and cried out in shock. This is a Tong Tian beast? Yu Yang shrugged his shoulders and added, the one and only Tong Tian beast. The golden-crowned thorny flower queen tilted her head and turned to Yu Yang. This fellow is really stupid. Are all demons stupid? Why would he think of ambushing you? Isn't this even more ridiculous than eating with me? Before she finished speaking, 5 demon spears that could kill Birdman shot towards her. The power of any one of them was enough to pierce through her. Boring ambush. The golden-crowned thorny flower queen waved her hand. Hundreds of bronze-ranked thorny flower auxiliary plants and cluster plants rose into the air. Every single one of them was much bigger than the demonic swamp dragon hiding in the blood pool. The demon spears shot towards them, but they did not seem to have any effect on the soft and slippery bodies of the thorny flower. Some of the auxiliary plants easily pulled out the demon spears from their bodies and sent them to the front of the golden-crowned thorny flower queen. The process was very fast. In less than 2 seconds, they completely ignored the demonic chi and poison on the spears. Before the 5 innate demons threw their spears a second time, more thorny flowers drilled out from the ground. They continued to combine and interweave, finally forming a thorny flower giant that was over 30 meters tall. All the thorny flowers were bronze-ranked, ranging from bronze-ranked level 1 to bronze-ranked level 9. The only thing missing was the highest bronze-ranked level 10. Even so, the appearance of this 30-meter-tall, bronze-ranked thorny flower giant made the 5 innate demons dumbstruck. How could they fight against such a tall, thorny flower giant? Before the 5 demons could react, suddenly, another 2 bronze-ranked thorny flower giants appeared on the ground. Luckily, these 2 thorny flower giants were shorter. Each of them was only 20 meters tall. Their targets were not the 5 demons, but the demonic swamp dragon hiding in the blood pool, as well as those corrupted wyverns that were flying around in fear. The demon chief had the urge to cry out loud. Who exactly was this young human man? Originally, he wanted to kill him and take all the spoils of war for himself. However, he did not expect that his strength was not something he could even think of. If he had known earlier, he would have immediately left this sky shrine after removing his seal. Being greedy for small gains was really killing people. Signing a demon contract was not a big deal. However, once he broke it, according to the rules of Tong Tian Tower, he could not leave the battlefield before the other party. Wasn't this the same as rushing himself to his death? Let's stop fighting. If you are willing, I will give you all my treasures as compensation. Furthermore, we will meet in the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower. I will compensate you 100 sky crystal coins. We don't have to risk our lives. That would only cause both sides to suffer. If you are willing, I am willing to compensate you for my actions just now. The demon chief had calculated in his heart that he would definitely suffer a huge loss in this battle. It would be better for him to bear the humiliation and compensate Yu Yang. After he left this place, he could invite more helpers to kill this brat, a Tong Tian beast that could cut gold-ranked weapons in half. He believed that many strong warriors would be tempted by it. Towards the demon chief's suggestion, Yu Yang waved his hands and smiled. Clever demon, do you think I will still believe your words? If I did not restrict you to this sky shrine, I would not have signed a demon contract with you. All right, I will not criticize your clumsy strategy anymore. Those are not what you demons are good at. Let us discuss how you want to die. How do you want to die? When the demon chief heard this, he staggered as if he had been punched by Yu Yang. Right now, even if he was an idiot, he understood everything. This brat had been scheming from the start. He was afraid that he would leave the sky shrine immediately. So he purposely showed weakness so that he could suppress him without fear and force him to sign a demon contract. He would then tear it apart and start a war even though they were allies. He had concealed his true strength. It wasn't until I turned hostile that he finally revealed his final Tong Tian beast. Do you think that you could defeat me with just your snake demon, bloody needlework, barbarian cowgirl, and this bronze-ranked level 1 golden crown thorny flower queen? The demon chief roared angrily. I am an innate level 5 ranker. It is meaningless no matter how many beasts you have. I am completely invincible. Do you know what my domain is? My domain is Dark Shadow. As long as I do not show myself, you will not be able to find me in the darkness of my domain. You have forgotten about my Tong Tian beast. Yu Yang smiled. He loved to see his enemies angry, because that kind of anger represented helplessness. Even if you have a Tong Tian beast, you will not be able to find me. The demon chief spread out his hands, and the surrounding 20 meters radius turned into darkness. His upper body gradually turned into a transparent shadow. As long as you enter, I will attack. You will not be able to find me, let alone defeat me, who is like a shadow. If you accept my suggestion and stop now, I will add another 100 sky crystal coins. What if I say that I have quintet golden puppet mice that specialize in breaking barriers, traps, and domains? Yu Yang summoned the 5 puppet mice. The demon chief was so angry that he could not speak. If you think it is not enough, I can summon more until you are satisfied. Yu Yang summoned the spirit of flame and smoke who had absorbed the sand beast's gold-ranked level 8 demon crystal Stormheart. She was now a gold-ranked level 5 spirit of flame and smoke. Her whole body was covered in raging flames and thick smoke. In her head, the Stormheart was spinning continuously. There was a trace of nirvana flame flickering on top of it. That was her most important component, the ultimate flame. How many guardian beasts do you actually have? The demon chief was going crazy. He felt that he was finished. This spirit of flame and smoke was also the bane of his dark shadow domain. He was not invisible. He only turned into a shadow and had a physical body. Would it be able to deceive the spirit of flame and smoke, who was a combination of storm, flame, smoke, and specter? It was impossible. What made him despair the most was that this human brat in front of him had all summoned guardian beasts. What did guardian beasts mean? They would never die in battle and would never betray. Under such circumstances, what else could he do to defeat his opponent? Forget about the golden crown thorny flower queen, the holy beast bloody queen, and the quasi-holy beast barbarian cow. He still had a serpent girl with unfathomable strength. In the demon chief's heart, this serpent girl was not inferior to the golden crown thorny flower queen. It was because of her that the avian leader, who had been his enemy for hundreds of years, lost his life on the spot. Yu Yang summoned the Reaper Mantis again and ordered it to kill those corrupted wyverns that were flying around in fear. At the same time, he looked at the despairing demon chief and revealed a bright smile that was even more terrifying than a demon king's. His handsome face revealed a devilish evil. If you don't mind, I would like to call a few more helpers. Hearing this, Little Wenli lightly tapped her lily-white hand and summoned her diamond grimoire. The protective shield rose up, and the stone element Medusa, Storm Mermaid, Thunder Naga, and Ice Serpent Demon appeared one after another. The demon chief saw this, and his claws trembled. His voice was filled with fear. Diamond Grimoire, your beast can summon a diamond grimoire? Damn it, who are you? How could a level 6, elder, and below possess a divine beast that can contract a grimoire? This is impossible. This is definitely impossible. You're not even a level 6 elder. How could you possess a divine beast? Yu Yang smiled. His smile made the 6 demons in front of him shiver. Why don't you guess that she's the transcending mythical beast that I was born with? Transcending divine beast? The demon chief suddenly felt suffocated. The foolish Yu Yang had actually started a war with a rancor who possessed a transcendent divine beast. Furthermore, this rancor had a holy beast bloody queen and a quasi-holy beast barbarian cow, a Reaper Mantis that was a natural nemesis of the Dragon Clan, a puppet mouse, and the spirit of flame and smoke that specialized in breaking his domain, a Tong Tian beast, and even a plant-type Emperor Beast Golden Crown Thorny Flower Queen that specialized in subduing demons. In this world, was there an existence that was more foolish, arrogant, greedy, and tragic than himself? When he saw the many beasts slowly surrounding him, the shadow of death that had never appeared in his heart for thousands of years floated up. This time, he was afraid that it would not be as simple as being sealed in the Sky Shrine. He was about to die. No, the demon chief roared in sorrow, his voice echoing in the Sky Shrine for a long time. Chapter 3:15. After fighting for an hour and 15 minutes, the demon chief, who was covered in wounds, finally fell miserably. Innate level 5, even in the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower, he was powerful. However, in the 2nd floor of Tong Tian Tower, he was defeated. Of course, this was an exception. No one would have thought that there would be such an abnormal person like Yu Yang in this world. Dying in Yu Yang's hands, the demon chief did not feel wronged. This was because before him, the stronger Machi Su Ling and Duan Mu Longcheng also died with hatred. We can't waste the corpses. Yu Yang waved his hand. Not only did he keep the white pearl in the avian's body, he did not let go of the feathers on its back. He plucked out everything that could be used and let the golden crown thorny flower queen summon the thorny flower to swallow the corpses. The avian's entire body was a treasure. The white pearl was better than the magic crystal. Its feathers could be made into arrows. Some of its weapons were even silver-ranked, and the worst was bronze-ranked. As for the corpses, they were good fertilizer. It was the same for the demons. After unsealing the 5 lesser innates, Yu Yang dug out their demon hearts and gave them to Hui Tai Lang, who had made a great contribution earlier. Although Hui Tai Lang didn't come, Yu Yang wouldn't forget his watchdog. As for the magic crystals, after refining them with Nirvana's flame, he divided them among red, on man, the golden beast, the spirit of flame and smoke, and the reaper mantis. Of course, the corpses would still be fertilizer for the thorny flower. After this battle, the reaper mantis leveled up from gold-ranked level 4 to gold-ranked level 5. The spirit of flame and smoke and man also showed signs of leveling up. He believed that they would be able to level up soon. Bloody Queen Red was trying to break through to Holy Beast 2 stars. She had almost succeeded, but the level displayed on her grimoire had not increased. The Golden Crown Thorny Flower Queen did not level up and was still bronze-ranked level 1. However, the thorny flowers she summoned had leveled up. Many of them had even leveled up to silver-ranked thorny flowers, especially those that had swallowed the corrupted wyvern and demonic swamp dragon's thorny flower. The changes were even more obvious. Yu Yang did not bother to go to the Aviant's residence and the demon's fortress to search for treasures. He was prepared to enter his grimoire world to take a look. Middle-ranked, gold-ranked grimoire had leveled up after the battle. The golden pillar of light shone for a long time. In the golden light, the special-type war beast world in the form of a domain expanded a little. After absorbing the birdman and demon's energy, other than the wind, fire, water, earth, and metal runes, there were 2 new heaven runes, light and dark. The runes within the range of the Ring of Light were even more abundant, revolving around the grimoire extremely slowly. The mysterious energy formed a unique domain that provided special benefits to the owner and all of his beast companions, but had a terrifying weakening effect on the enemy. Right now, its area of effect wasn't wide, and it was only Platinum rank level 3. If it were to level up in the future and expand its area of effect, it would definitely be a powerful weapon. Of course, Yu Yang felt that no amount of magical crystals would be enough to nurture this bottomless pit. Little Wenli tugged at Yu Yang's arm. "Can I enter the grimoire world now?" Yu Yang was overjoyed. He gathered his thoughts and realized that the world was no longer resisting him. There was even a faint feeling of guidance. More of the guidance came from Little One Li, who was tugging at Yu Yang's arm. A burst of golden light emerged from the grimoire and enveloped Yu Yang's body. In an instant, Yu Yang disappeared without a trace. At the moment of teleportation, Yu Yang felt that Little Wen Li was bringing him along as they flew in the void at an extremely fast speed. It was as if they had passed through thousands of mountains and rivers, but it was also as if only a blink of an eye had passed. Under his feet, he landed on the ground after being suspended in the air. His eyes lit up. Yu Yang realized that he was in a strange world. This grimoire world wasn't very vast. From a few kilometers away, Yu Yang could see the end of the world. It was a ring of undulating mountains, and above it was a domed sky. The sky was bright, but there were no stars or moon. There weren't even any clouds. It seemed a little monotonous. The height was estimated to be only 1,000 meters. There were some especially tall mountains on the ground that almost reached half the height of the domed sky. The ground was mainly made up of water. There were lakes everywhere. In the middle, there were a few islands of different sizes. There were only grass and a few vines on the islands. There were a few short figs and no tall trees. The water was extremely clear. There were no fishes or prawns, only quiet lake water. To be more accurate, other than Yu Yang, Little One Li, Bloody Queen Red, Barbarian Cow Shadow Man, and other living beings, there were no other living beings in this new world. It was just a newly born world. Let's work together and make this our new home. Yu Yang was overjoyed. With the grimoire world, even if it was a little crude, as long as he built it himself, it could still be gradually perfected. If there were no butterflies, birds, fishes, or prawns, he would bring them in. If there were no flowers or trees, he could plant them continuously. As for the house, he could just bring the materials in to build it. Okay, Little Wenli nodded her head obediently, expressing her excitement. Let's dismantle the Sky Shrine's White Cloud Fortress and the White Cloud Fortress made of floating rocks and move them in. There's also the Demon Fortress. Those are all good materials. Bloody Queen Red liked to live in high places. She was very interested in the floating rocks in the White Cloud Fortress where the Aviants lived. She decided to dismantle them and build a pavilion in the sky. Then what are we waiting for? Under Yu Yang's command, all the beasts moved out. The demon fortress was destroyed. The barbarian Cow Shadow and the golden-crowned thorny flower queen worked together to move the large pieces of obsidian back. Even the Reaper Mantis helped. Only the spirit of flame and smoke, who did not understand the trifles of life and only knew how to fight based on her instincts, stared blankly for a while. Seeing that Yu Yang did not have time to care about her, she flew to a mountain peak and summoned a fiery red magma to form a small volcanic pool. She then lived in it comfortably and continued to digest the storm heart in her body. Bloody Queen Red and Yu Yang flew together to the floating rocks in the sky. They dismantled the white cloud fortress that the Aviants lived in piece by piece and transported them back to the grimoire world. Fortunately, as long as they moved the floating rocks into the range of the domain of light, they would be automatically transported in. Otherwise, if they had to move the floating rocks one by one, it would really be tiring. Yu Yang was in charge of dismantling the walls and collecting treasures at the same time. He destroyed everything that he did not need to prevent the challengers from seeing through his tricks. He reckoned that every once in a while, some rankers from Tongtian Tower would throw some beasts, birdmen and demons into the three-world shrine through some means. As long as they were used up, they would be compensated. Of course, if the place where the Aviants and demons lived was destroyed, those fellows would definitely not care. The Aviants leader and the demon chief both had their own storage bracelets. It was not suitable for Yu Yang to wear them. He decided to find a time to refine these two items and see if he could fuse them with the Lich Ring to increase its storage capacity. Although storage was no longer a problem with the grimoire world, it was still more convenient to wear the Lich Ring, especially in battle or when it was inconvenient to summon the grimoire. Red, a man, and the others were still moving the rocks. Yu Yang and Little One Li went to complete the final reward for clearing the Sky Shrine. Please don't set a time limit. Otherwise, they would faint if they cleared the Sky Shrine without getting the reward. The crystal card flashed across the Heavenly King statue's hand. The Heavenly King statue was smashed into pieces, and shattered rocks flew everywhere. Yu Yang used his innate chi to disperse the dust and found a ball of faint green light in front of him. On the other side of the ball of green light, there was an orb that was emitting a faint light. Sky-splitting orb. Fake the holder can use this orb to forcefully open a dimensional space. Limited to one use only. Yu Yang sweated profusely. The Sky Shrine's reward was indeed a fake. Just from its appearance, this fake sky-splitting orb was not even as good as the silver-ranked blood-sucking orb. At the very least, the blood-sucking orb could absorb blood when embedded on a weapon, directly increasing the weapon's power. If it was swallowed by a beast, the blood-sucking orb could even activate the blood-sucking skill through the beast. Although this blood-sucking skill was a little useless because it was a probabilistic skill. A probabilistic skill was the same as Doom's Eyes, but Doom's Eyes could kill instantly, while the blood-sucking orb could only absorb blood. Even a mosquito's leg was meat. Yu Yang did not reject any treasures, the more the better. If it was said that Yu Yang was very disappointed with the three-world shrine's rewards before, then this ball of green light had completely changed his view of the world. 5 colors of God light. Green, one of the 5 colors of God light. The holder of this light can transform all poisons. All plant-type beasts will be strengthened by 10 times, and the holder of this light will temporarily obtain the nature body. Yu Yang's Heaven Eyes divine vision also saw a message. Shattered Godlight, 9 layers seal. In other words, under the 9 layers seal, the green Godlight of the 5 colors of Godlight was still so powerful. If all the seals were undone, Yu Yang could not imagine how powerful it would be. According to Yu Yang's memories before he transmigrated, this thing was not simple. It was a treasure that Kong Xian had refined for tens of thousands of years. It was said that a bit of innate chaos chi enveloped Mahamayuri and formed 5 tails. Later on, Mahamayuri Kong Xian used tens of thousands of years to refine feathers that were 3 feet long. They were like 5 treasured swords. Although they were feathers, they were as heavy as ancient mountains. As for PK, Once the 5 colors of God light appeared, Huang Feihu, Chong Heihu, and Pagoda, Dinghai Pearl, and Golden Alms Bowl all became floating clouds. Lu Ye and Yang Jian, who were extremely powerful, ran away in fear when they saw the 5 colors of God light. Even Jiang Zia, who had the divine beating whip, could not do anything to it. If one word was to describe the 5 colors of God light, it would be powerful. Of course, this 5 colors of God light might not be Kong Xian's tail. However, since it was called the 5 colors of God light, it must not be a simple treasure. Could it be that Kong Xian's but was kicked by the old Taoist priest and a fragment of his tail fell out? Yu Yang guessed maliciously. However, he still kept the treasure immediately. After clearing the 3 world shrines, there was actually 5 colors of God light as a reward. It was too touching. It was a pity that he could not clear the instance dungeon repeatedly. Otherwise, Yu Yang would have obtained all the 5 colors of God light. When Yu Yang kept the fake sky, splitting orb, and one of the 5 colors of God light, the green divine light, the whole sky shrine started trembling. This was similar to clearing the 12 zodiac temples. Seeing that there were not many things left to pack, Yu Yang hurriedly signaled for everyone to retreat. God knows if this trembling would attract the attention of a certain god of design in Tong Tian Tower. Although he was not sure, the cautious Yu Yang gave up on moving the last piece of obsidian. This thing was also available in the Demon Palace in the Demon Abyss. If it was really not enough, he could just visit the great demon King Baruth. Whatever harp, blood scythe, and other weapons were all kept. Red, a man, and the other girls also returned to the grimoire world. Yu Yang rushed out of the teleportation gate like a wisp of smoke. He almost bumped into the Golden Armor Captain. Hey, you didn't die? This Golden Armor Captain was different from the Golden Armor Captain who guarded the 12 zodiac temples on the first floor. He did not recognize Yu Yang, and when he saw that this little thief had come out alive, he was extremely shocked. You seem to have been in there for a few hours? Why didn't you die? There were too many monsters inside, so I hid and took a nap. When I saw that there were no more movements, I tiptoed out. That was close. Yu Yang pretended to be glad that he had narrowly escaped death. When the Golden Armor Captain heard this, he laughed out loud and patted Yu Yang's shoulder. You're really lucky. I've never heard of a party with less than 50 people. 90% of those who could pass through the human hall would be wiped out. You being able to escape from the human hall is already a miracle. Brat, don't overestimate yourself. It's definitely impossible for you to pass through the human hall alone. I won't dare anymore. Yu Yang pretended to be afraid and quickly slipped away. Haha, this little thief ran really fast. I reckon he has an invisible treasure. Otherwise, he definitely wouldn't have been able to escape. The Golden Armor Captain mumbled, but he quickly threw this matter to the back of his mind. If his curiosity was strong enough, he could use his authority to enter the room with the crystal pillar display and use his authority to check on the situation of clearing the trial. Then, the truth would probably scare him to death. This was because Yu Yang's completion rate in the 3 world shrines was as high as 3,000%. In other words, this brat had exceeded the difficulty by 30 times. Chapter 316. When Yu Yang came out from the 2nd floor of Tong Tian Tower, he did not rush back to the little flower garden. Instead, he went to the Yu clan castle first. Second Uncle Yu Ling reported the situation of the clan. If Yu Yang was not around, he would not be able to be the substitute clan master. It was only now that he realized that being the clan master was really not easy. The pressure was extremely huge. Fortunately, there was Yu Yang, his extremely powerful nephew, to support him. The other clan representatives had to give him some face when they spoke. If it was only him, a level 6 beginner, elder, who was supporting him, the others would probably not even pay attention to him. I don't know much about the matters of the clan. I will be at ease if you handle it. Yu Yang was actually not very interested in the clan. Other than the ghost genius Yu Gong's puppet palace, Yu Yang did not care about anything else. Yu Ling and the 2 elders also opened the secret room that only the core members of the clan could enter to Yu Yang, allowing him to browse through it. Inside, There were many records of the three Renaissance heroes and the past geniuses. It was a dazzling sight. The three Renaissance heroes' battle techniques, beast training, military strategies, and social strategies were very useful to normal Yu clan disciples. However, to Yu Yang, who had inherited the knowledge from the pitiful guy's mother, there were not many things that were worth studying. As for military strategies and social strategies, Yu Yang was not a general or an official, so it was useless to him. He was an innate, so these things were useless to him. The three Renaissance heroes' writings were not written for innate rankers. They only guided the younger generation on how to continue the clan and how to strengthen the Yu clan's position in the four great clans, and even the soaring dragon continent. It could be said that the only thing that Yu Yang was looking forward to was the ghost genius Yu Gong's puppet palace. According to the records, the Yu clan's secrets from 1,000 years ago were stored there. If Elder Yu Hai was at home, Yu Yang would have entered it long ago. Unfortunately, Elder Yu Hai was not around, and only he, the real clan master, knew the secret location of the puppet palace. Located underneath the Yu clan castle, it was not a real puppet palace, but a puppet factory. The ghost genius Yu Gong had built this puppet factory. The future generations did not need to be geniuses. As long as they studied, they would be able to create low-level puppet beasts. Feng Er was expelled by the Floating Mist sect. Mr. Ku Ming expressed his apologies, but he could not disobey the sect leader's orders. Yuling's voice carried a hint of sadness. This generation of the Yu clan was actually full of talents. Yu Tian and Yu Yin had once been chosen as one of the world's 10 great heroes. Afterwards, Yu Feng had contracted a grimoire at the age of 6. His talent had already been revealed, and the three great sects had rushed over upon hearing the news. Even the Southern Mountains Floating Mist sect had fought to take him in as a disciple. Afterwards, Yu Yang pulled a carriage, carrying Fourth Mother, his foster mother, and his sister to the Yu clan castle, shocking the whole world. The incompetent, good-for-nothing of the past had become the most abnormal young genius. Even Yu Bing, who was only proficient in plant-type beasts, had shown brilliantly in the New Year's clan tournament. At that time, all the warriors in the world were amazed by the Yu clan's younger generation. However, today, the eldest son Yu Tian was destroyed, the fourth son Yu Yin was crippled, the fifth son Yu Ting was missing, the sixth son Yu Bao was facing the clan's judgment, and the ninth son Yu Feng had been expelled by the Floating Mist sect, becoming an abandoned disciple. If not for the two siblings, Yu Yang and Yu Bing, the whole Yu clan would have declined beyond repair. Yu Yang understood what was going on. He had beaten up by Yun Fei and made him kneel down in front of everyone. This humiliation could never be erased. If this guy went back and told his father about this, it would be strange if the Floating Mist sect would still teach Yu Feng. He felt that this matter would happen sooner or later. Now that Yu Feng had been expelled, it was already within his expectations. Yu Feng had lost his master, so it was not a bad thing for him to guide Yu Feng and increase the Yu clan's strength in the future. After all, he could not stay in the soaring dragon continent forever to look after the Yu clan. If he and the girls went to the Heaven Realm and did not return for 100 years, the Yu clan would not be able to do without a few Yus to support them. He muttered to himself for a while and made his decision. I'm busy right now. I need to help Princess Sisai and City Mistress Fallen Flowers to become innates. I don't have time for now. When Yu Yang said this, second Uncle Yu Ling became even more dejected. It's all right. Your matter is the most important. Yu Ling had already guessed that Yu Yang would reject him. Who knew that Yu Yang's next words would make him unable to believe his own ears? Listen to me first. Second uncle, regarding Xiao Jio's matter, I will guide him when I have time. Actually, he is still young now, so building a good foundation is the most important thing. There is no need to be anxious. As for the Floating Mist sect, it's fine even if we, the Yu clan's disciples, walk the path of the four great sects, but can't we become innates? Yu Yang would not teach Yu Feng very diligently, but it would not be a problem for him to give Yu Feng some pointers when he had time. Oh, really? Then second uncle will thank you on behalf of Feng Er. Yu Ling was overjoyed. He immediately bowed deeply to Yu Yang on behalf of his son. Of course, he understood that the floating mist sect had fallen out with Yu Yang because their young sect leader was beaten up by Yu Yang. However, he could only swallow the bitterness in his stomach. Yu Yang and the floating mist sect were not people that he could offend. Furthermore, even if Yu Feng was not expelled, he might not be able to learn his true abilities. Bai Yunfei might even take revenge on him secretly. Yu Ling mentioned this to Yu Yang, hoping that Yu Yang could give Yu Feng some pointers in the future when he was stuck at a bottleneck and was unable to break through. He could also give Yu Feng a martial arts pill or some other miraculous medicine, so that Yu Feng would not walk down the same path as Yu Tian and Yu Yin. He never thought that Yu Yang would actually be willing to personally guide his own son. How could he not be moved? As an innate, even a few pointers from Yu Yang would be better than learning from the floating mist sect. As a disciple, if he was not absolutely loyal to the floating mist sect, would he be willing to teach him everything? As a Yu clan disciple, how could Yu Feng be loyal to the floating mist sect? Furthermore, Yu Feng's master was only a level 6 elder, and there were even 2 level 5 grandmasters who assisted him with basic knowledge. How could they be compared to Yu Yang, who was an innate ranker? Thinking about this, Yu Ling's tears became moist. He suppressed the emotions in his heart and took a deep breath. Then, he cupped his hands towards Yu Yang and said with a choked voice, "Xiao-san, I was wrong in the past. I was muddle-headed in the past. Please don't let it hang in your heart." Putting himself in Yu Yang's shoes, Yu Ling knew that he couldn't be as open-minded as Yu Yang and let bygones be bygones. If he became an innate, would his third brother, Yu Qiu, who was always criticizing him, or his big brother, Yu Shan, who always pressured him, ask for his guidance or ask him to teach their sons? Could he be as magnanimous as his nephew Yu Yang? Obviously, he couldn't. Yu Ling now understood that Yu Yang's nephew was much stronger than him, his second uncle. In terms of character, he was also far behind him. Yu Ling, who was extremely moved, never thought that Yu Yang only taught Yu Feng because he was afraid of trouble, afraid that he would always sigh in his ears. This was what Yu Yang thought. If Elder Yu Hai came back and mentioned the same thing, he might not be able to reject him. Hence, he might as well agree now. Yu Feng was still young anyway. He didn't need to spend time teaching him. Yu Ling would be able to teach his son well. Now, you should teach him basic knowledge. A great building starts from a small place. The more solid his basic knowledge is, the higher his future achievements will be. In order to boost second Uncle Yu Ling's morale, Yu Yang took out a white pearl from his lich ring and passed it to second Uncle Yu Ling. "I didn't bring anything with me at the moment, so I'll give this to Xiaojiu. His guardian beast seems to be pretty good. You should train it well." Gold ranked, level 5. Second Uncle Yu Ling received it happily. When he saw it, he almost jumped in shock. Gold ranked, level 5 light type magic crystal? No, he had never seen this kind of magic crystal before. It didn't look like a magic crystal from a beast, nor did it look like a giant dragon's magic crystal. It wasn't even a goblin's orb. What kind of creature's energy core was this? It looked very pure. It would be the best to use it to train Yu Feng's guardian beast. It wasn't that Yu Ling had never seen a gold-ranked magic crystal before. However, when Yu Yang gave him a gold-ranked magic crystal, he felt that this magic crystal was a bit troublesome. He felt even more ashamed. Not only did his nephew not oppose him, he even gave him his full support. Thinking about how he used to roll his eyes at his nephew and even ridicule him. How could he not feel guilty? If Yu Ling knew that all the birdmen that Yu Yang killed in the Sky Shrine were gold-ranked, and that the pearl he gave him was the worst, he probably wouldn't feel so guilty. I still have a few of these things. Xiaojiu's guardian beast has finished absorbing them. I'll give him another one then. Yu Yang didn't explain and went out on his own. Could it be that this thing came from the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower and above? Although Yu Ling didn't know what it was, he knew that it was definitely a good thing. After admiring it for a long time, he suddenly remembered that his son Yu Feng was still waiting for his good news in the study room. He hurried overexcitedly and couldn't wait to tell his son this good news. Now, Yu Ling's only hope was his youngest son Yu Feng. He didn't expect his son Yu Feng to have the same abnormal strength and unbelievable improvement as Yu Yang. He only hoped that his son would be able to reach the innate realm in the hundreds of thousands of years of training. Even if he had to train for 200 years, he would still be able to reach the innate realm in the end. As for Yu Tian and Yu Yan, forget about it. Forget about Yu Yang. Even Yu Ling himself felt that they weren't worthy of forgiveness. In the plaza, Yi Kong, Fatty Hai, and the Li brothers were training. They still didn't know that Yu Yang had come back. Only Hui Tai Lang was there. Its nose was especially sensitive. Once it smelled its master's unique scent, it immediately came up to greet him. Yu Yang first waved his hands at the excited clansman. He was like a superstar, escorted by his clansmen all the way to the plaza. As for the clansmen, they were naturally praised and rewarded with money. These are what they needed the most. For example, Lin Lei and Lin Miao, the two family guards who followed Yu Yang on their own accord, were rewarded with a bronze-ranked weapon each. This made them feel extremely proud, and their faces were flushed red. They were so happy that they kowtowed and thanked Yu Yang. Bronze-ranked weapons weren't worth being so excited about, but they were thankful for Yu Yang's attention. Yu Yang smiled and threw a few pearls to Fatty Hai, Yi Kong, and the Li brothers. When these few gold-ranked level 5 pearls came into his hands, Fatty Hai was like a pervert who had seen a naked girl drooling like a waterfall. Hui Tai Lang circled around Yu Yang and rubbed against him, extremely anxious. It knew that there would definitely be a share, but its throat couldn't wait to eat. It was basically the same as Fatty Hai. If it wasn't for the difference between humans and wolves, others might even mistake them as brothers. When the few demon hearts came out, it didn't even have time to chew before it swallowed them into its stomach. The Thunder Mammoth, King Kong Demon Ape, Herculean Rhinoceros Beetle, and the others were all extremely envious. Unfortunately, not to mention that there weren't any. Even if there were, they wouldn't be able to endure the evil demonic chi of the demon heart. Only a pervert like Hui Tai Lang could crazily chew on the demon heart. Don't look at me like a hungry kitten. Yu Yang couldn't stand those beast gazes. He threw a few lightning leopard, storm wolf, and flaming lion demon cores to them. They were all silver ranked, causing the King Kong demon ape and the other beasts to roar loudly, beating their chests and stamping their feet in joy. I'm ready. Where should we go next to challenge? Tong Tian Tower? Demon Abyss? I won't go west if you point me to the east. Fatty Hai smiled and asked. It's not that there aren't any places, but those who are below innate would be instantly killed. Yu Yang's words scared Fatty Hai so much that his heart almost exploded. Pretend I didn't say anything. Fatty Hai waved his hands. Give us a little more time. Although it's a little arrogant to say this, we will become innates sooner or later. Yi Kong resolutely clenched his fist. The Yi Kong today was no longer the Yi Kong who almost starved to death in the first floor of Tong Tian Tower. I'll give you 1 year. No, 9 months. If you don't work hard, I'll go to Heaven Realm first. The Heaven Realm gate opens once every 100 years. Do as you see fit. Yu Yang decided to give Yi Kong and the others some pressure. They didn't have much time. If they didn't work hard, they wouldn't be able to make it in time. When Yi Kong and Fatty Hai heard this, they were first overwhelmed with shock. Then, their faces turned serious and determined. I'll definitely make it in time. Yi Kong clenched his fist tightly and promised Yu Yang in a low voice. Then he waved his fist at Fatty Hai and shouted, Come, let's continue practicing. You think I'm afraid of you? Fatty Hai's eyes were red as he growled like a wounded beast. He understood very well what Yu Yang meant by the deadline. It was the difference between a true warrior and a mediocre person. If they couldn't make it to Heaven Realm before the Heaven Realm gate closes, they would be left behind by Yu Yang. After 100 years, even if Yu Yang returned from Heaven Realm, they would probably become mediocre people. Their potential would be exhausted, and they wouldn't be able to improve anymore. How many 100 years could a person live? If they didn't work hard while they were young, when they grew up, their muscles, bones, and veins would be fixed. Their hot-bloodedness and fighting spirit would be extinguished. Then, how much fighting power would they have left? Moreover, if Yu Yang went to Heaven Realm, the difference between them would only get bigger and bigger. Yu Yang, who had trained in Heaven Realm for 100 years, would probably advance to a higher level world. Even if he returned to Soaring Dragon Continent, he would only be visiting his family. At that time, Would he still be a target that they could look up to? At that time, they would probably not be able to reach him even in their dreams. The pressure of time in Fatty Hai and Yi Kong's hearts was also felt by Princess Sisai and the others. In fact, it was even stronger and more intense. They had to follow him. 100 years of separation was something that they definitely couldn't accept. Between friends, they might not be able to follow each other to the end. After 100 years, they would still be friends. But between lovers, if they couldn't be together, it would be over. What was more pressing was that Yu Yang was still preparing to enter the prison Emperor Divine Palace. This was the first step to enter Heaven Realm. At the same time, this was also a test. Yu Yang had to pass the prison Emperor Divine Palace's test and defeat those sealed Heaven Realm warriors. Only then would he have a chance to enter Heaven Realm. When Yu Yang returned to the Little Flower Garden, he had just finished telling them about passing the 3 world shrines. Before he could even bring everyone into the grimoire world, Princess Sisai grabbed his collar and lifted him up. She glared at him with her tiger-like eyes. "There's not enough time. Train your swordsmanship." Yu Yang originally wanted to take a couple bath with Sickly Beauty and enjoy their blissful sexual life before training. He didn't expect Tigress to be so impatient. It was rare that she took the initiative to invite him to train. Yu Yang naturally agreed. Sickly Beauty smiled and pulled Yu Bing and Anan along. "Then let's enter the grimoire world first and build a small house with our own hands. There's nothing inside. We can take turns to build a new house. If Qianqian is tired, we can go with fallen flowers to train. Let's go. Let's not disturb Qianqian's swordsmanship." Not disturbing Princess Sisai's swordsmanship training was an excuse. Princess Sisai could train her swordsmanship normally. When she was together with Yu Yang, it was naturally to train body fusion. This was the two-person world that Sickly Beauty had created for Princess Sisai and Yu Yang. If the girls weren't around, she thought that Princess Sisai would be able to relax a little. Seeing Sickly Beauty and the others enter the grimoire world one by one under little One Li's guidance, Princess Sisai blushed. "You should take a bath first. You're sweaty and stinky. It's going to kill me." Yu Yang saw that she was acting coquettishly, and his heart was moved. He couldn't help but reach out and forcefully embrace Tigress, who was pretending to be angry. Intoxicated, he forcefully kissed the struggling beauty in his arms. Chapter 317. Princess Sisai panicked and wanted to dodge, but she realized that this brat was too fast. Even if she turned her face to the side, he still kissed the corner of her lips. Princess Sisai did not have the time to clearly understand the feeling of being kissed. She quickly exerted force and broke free. "You're asking for a beating." Princess Sisai raised her small fist, indicating that she wanted to hit him, but her whole body was limp. If he hugged her again, she reckoned that she might let him have his way. Am I really going to be an unmarried princess with a big belly? Princess Sisai was rather flustered. Her heart was beating very fast. She blushed and pushed Yu Yang lightly. "Don't come closer, or else I'll really get angry. Go and take your bath. I've never seen such a rude bastard like you." Huh. Yu Yang knew that it was useless to be impatient. This tigress would not be able to run away sooner or later, so he should take it slow. He smiled proudly and turned to leave. Princess Sisai was flustered and angry. She wished that she could give him a kick, but she was afraid that it would be like the last time at the Cloud Top Lake, where he would catch her when she tried to kick him and press against her body. Princess Sisai remembered that her pants were torn at that time. Maybe her secret had already been seen by this brat. She immediately felt even more embarrassed and blushed. It took a long time for her to come back to her senses. Touching the corner of her lips, she recalled Yu Yang's kiss just now. The feeling of being kissed by him was a little strange, an indescribable strange feeling. Unfortunately, it was too fast, and she did not feel it clearly at that time. As Princess Sisai thought about it, her jade-like face blushed again, and she secretly scolded herself. "Idiot, you let that brat take advantage of you. It's a pity that you did not feel it clearly." After giving up on the memory of the kiss just now, Princess Sisai tidied up her clothes, afraid that the other girls would come out and see anything wrong with her body. Finally, She touched her buttocks. She struggled too intensely just now and seemed to have touched something hard. It must be that brat's bad thing. When Princess Sisai remembered that she had seen his bad thing a few times before, her face immediately turned red. This brat's lust was truly boundless. It seemed like he was in great danger. However, the old man at home was not back yet. If she didn't force Yang to talk to him, he would at least ask for her hand in marriage in secret. She didn't even have a title. If she was eaten by him and became an unmarried princess with a big belly, it would be really embarrassing. The more Princess Sisai thought about it, the more restless she became. She really wanted to see if Yang had returned from his bath, but she was afraid that he would think that she was peeping. When Yang came back from the shower, he was covered in steam. However, he did not tease Princess Sisai again. On the surface, he pretended to be an obedient child. Of course, the more he acted like this, the more worried Princess Sisai was. Now that Castellan Fallen Flowers, Sickly Beauty, and Shui Wuxiao were not by her side, Princess Sisai was able to relax a little. She only struggled a little when Yu Yang held her hand, leaned on her shoulder, leaned on her back, and other basic body fusion movements. She was not as resistant as before. Since she had already been kissed by him, holding hands was not a big deal. Since Fallen Flowers and Wu Xiao were not here, it would be a waste of effort to argue with this shameless brat. Once they started cultivating, Princess Sisai's mind gradually calmed down and she fully immersed herself in it. Now that she no longer had any psychological barriers, she also had an indescribable contract when cultivating with Yu Yang. She was not inferior to Shui Wuxia, who had the most tacit understanding. Princess Sisai even realized that it was not that she could not cooperate with this guy. It was just that she had mental barriers in the past. Now that they were not by her side and he was alone, after she untied the mental barriers, her cultivation was like a fish in the water. When it came to tacit cooperation, it was easy. Princess Qian secretly rejoiced. It seemed that she wasn't bad either. If it wasn't for Shui Wuxia, she would be the most tacit partner with him. With a good start in the body fusion technique, Princess Qian became more open and devoted herself to assisting him, allowing his innate qi to flow through her body. When her meridians were connected, there was a slight pain. However, Princess Sisai enjoyed this feeling. The pain was nothing. Instead, she felt happy for Yu Yang's gentle, comforting actions. Yes, it was indeed a kind of happiness. Just like when she was young, she fell to the ground and cried when she was injured while she was practicing her sword skills. Then, she saw her father reaching out his hand and gently wiping away her tears. It was that kind of gentleness, that kind of happiness. This guy was really similar to her father. Both of them did not know how to spoil and love each other. They were both men who cared about their faces. They would not say those kind of words, even though they liked her from the bottom of their hearts. She remembered that not long ago, her father once said to her, "Although you have grown up, you have not learned how to take care of yourself, let alone others. You have to find a boy who knows how to take care of you. He may not necessarily hold you in his hands every day, and he may not know how to be gentle and affectionate to you. As long as he has you in his heart and can always protect you silently, that's enough." This guy, Yu Yang, might be the kind of person that her father talked about. He would not say flowery words to her. However, he had her in his heart, even if she was very clumsy and did not know how to respond to him. Now, with him by her side, it was like having her father by her side when she was practicing her swordsmanship when she was young. After she grew up, her father's loving figure disappeared. What replaced him was him. He was the bad guy who was destined to make her emotions unresolvable and messy for the rest of her life. Time passed very quickly. 6 hours had passed. City Mistress Fallen Flowers and the others came out of the grimoire world under little one Li's guidance. Princess Sisai blushed when she saw City Mistress Fallen Flowers' half-smiling expression. Originally, they had agreed to only practice for 3 hours. Then it would be Fallen Flowers' turn. She did not expect that she would even take up her time. City Mistress Fallen Flowers did not mind. She cooked together with Yu Yu. She learned Yu Yu's cooking skills and made dinner for Yu Yang. Among the girls, Yu Yu's cooking skills could be said to be the best. The omnipotent Shui Wuxia was also not bad. The third was Sickly Beauty. Before Sickly Beauty became Yu Yang's wife, her cooking skills were SOSO. However, once she became Yu Yang's wife, for some reason, her culinary skills improved by leaps and bounds. Furthermore, she became more willing to cook. In the past, she always preferred to eat simple food and concentrate on studying runes. Now, it was the complete opposite. City Mistress Fallen Flowers and Anan could only cook simple food. It was edible, but it was still far from delicious. As for Yu Bing, she did not know how to cook, but it was not a problem for her to help others wash vegetables. Among the girls, the only one who couldn't recognize all the seasonings and only knew how to eat but didn't know how to cook was Princess Qian. Since young, Jun Wuyu had been strict with her, just like a boy. Moreover, he had intentionally groomed her to become an emperor. She had never once worried about her diet. Even when she went out to train, she would be accompanied by Yu Yu. She had never had the chance to cook. I'll go and help too. Princess Qian was actually a little reluctant to part with Yu Yang. If it wasn't for the fact that the girls were so hungry that they came out to cook, she still wanted to continue training with Yu Yang. In order to show in front of the girls that there was nothing between her and Yu Yang, she decided to stay away from him. For example, to help in the kitchen. Don't. The food you cook will spoil my stomach. Yu Yang was shocked and quickly stopped her. What did you say? Princess Sisai was furious. She did not know how to cook, but it was impossible for her to make poison. How dare you look down on her? Qian, don't be anxious if you want to learn. Next time, I'll do it today. Yu Yu hurriedly tried to smooth things over for her brother, while Luo Hua City Mistress snickered. She wasn't good at cooking either, but it was definitely not a problem to cook it well. Even if it wasn't delicious, it would definitely not cause one's intestines to rot after eating it. Looking at City Mistress Fallen Flowers' smile, Princess Sisai was even more depressed. Why were they both women? Why was her cooking talent so bad? It was not that she had never tried cooking, but it was either burnt or half-cooked. She had no talent since childhood, and her mind was not on cooking. Princess Sisai had long given up learning in this area. Today, when she heard what Yu Yang said, she really felt a little unhappy in her heart. The sage once said that if a woman wanted to hold a man's heart, she must first satisfy his stomach. In this aspect, she was definitely a failure. Princess Sisai did not insist on cooking a meal herself, but she did take this matter to heart. She decided to work hard in secret. One day, she would make Yu Yang eat until his stomach was round and licking his fingers. After Yu Yang returned, the girls resumed their regular lives. Everyone focused on training, and when they were free, they would build houses in the grimoire world. Every day, Princess Sisai and City Mistress Fallen Flowers occupied the most time. Both of them occupied about 5 hours of Yu Yang's time each. Because they had been training for a long time, they had become more and more in sync with each other. The effects of body fusion had brought about a significant improvement in their strength every day. On the 5th day, Princess Sisai's guardian beast, White Tiger, leveled up. There were even signs of it evolving from platinum-ranked to diamond-ranked. As long as the White Tiger that was in one body with Qian became a holy beast, it would be the time for Princess Sisai to become an innate. City Mistress Fallen Flowers was slightly slower. On the 9th day, City Mistress Fallen Flowers' guardian beast, Light Elf Rora, finally leveled up from gold-ranked level 5 to platinum-ranked level 4 with the help of Yu Yang's innate Qi, God's Dew, Water of Life, 5-color Divine Light, and other rare treasures. Aurora was different from Princess Sisai's White Tiger. It needed at least a month's time before it could level up again. However, City Mistress Fallen Flowers still had the 3-tailed Snow Fox. With the help of Yu Yang's Nirvana Flame, Heaven Runes, and the Avian Leader's White Pearl, the little fox immediately leveled up to platinum-ranked level 3. Although it had not unlocked its intelligence, the 3-tailed Snow Fox already had a certain level of intelligence. If one were to compare all the non-humanoid beasts, its intelligence might even be higher than Hui Tai Lang's. Could it be that she will really become a fox girl? Yu Yang was also unsure. He realized that the three-tailed snow fox's evolution direction was different from Hui Tai Lang's. Hui Tai Lang was the same as its master. They were both strange exceptions, different from the others. He reckoned that even if it evolved into a holy beast, it would not transform into a humanoid form. However, the three-tailed snow fox gradually showed signs of evolving into a humanoid form. Yang secretly sweated as he thought about it. Could it be that this three-tailed snow fox would eventually transform into the beautiful Daji that could bring calamity to the country and people? After 10 days of body fusion, not only did Yu Yang, Fallen Flowers, and Qian's cultivation level soared, their feelings for each other had also grown. Unknowingly, they had started to accept his hugs. Of course, the excuse in their hearts was that it was necessary for them to train body fusion. Sometimes, when his naughty thing that could not be restrained touched their thighs or buttocks, they would only be embarrassed and not angry. Most of the time, they would pretend that they did not know anything. Sometimes, when they were tired from training and were unwilling to leave, they would just nestle in his embrace and have a good sleep. Although Yu Yang did not take the opportunity to push them down, in the hearts of the two girls, they had already accepted this man who was destined to be their nemesis. They did not resist his occasional kisses and gropes. They only wanted to guard the last barrier. Yu Yang was not anxious at all. Rather than forcefully pushing them down, it would be better to let things flow naturally. That day, he believed that it would not be too long. Maybe they only needed a little bit of external factors to break through the last barrier in their hearts. There's a message from that big-breast girl of yours. She wants to meet you at the Yu clan castle tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Princess Sisai had left the little flower garden for 2 hours. Her original intention was to inquire about the news of her father's return. She did not expect that there would be no news from her father. Instead, she received a reply from Impatient Sky Law in the Thief Guild. Really? When Yu Yang heard this, he was overjoyed. He had not seen Impatience for a long time. He really missed her a little. Look at how happy you are. Don't you just want to see my big breasts? Princess Sisai's tone was sour, as if she had drunk 3 bowls of vinegar. She almost wanted to tell Yu Yang, if you want to see my big breasts, we have them too. It's just that I don't wear Sky Law's revealing clothes. Chapter 3:18. Seeing Impatience again, Yu Yang realized that the beauty was slightly thinner. Maybe it was because she had just recovered from her injuries, but her charm was still stunning. Of course, Yu Yang went straight for her snow-white breasts, preparing to bury his head in them. Little rascal, let's talk about serious matters. Don't mess around. Yu Yang's forehead was pressed by Impatience's jade finger. Her beautiful face revealed a smile that could even make the sun lose its brilliance. The serious matter is very simple. It is to attack the Prison Emperor Divine Palace in half a month. After I'm done, Beauty, can you put aside the important matters of the country? Let's deal with our private affairs first. Yu Yang pretended to hug her, but Impatience dodged Yu Yang's hug. Instead, she opened her arms and hugged Yu Yang from behind. Her cherry lips moved closer to Yu Yang's earlobe and kissed it lightly. I'm sorry. I'm afraid I can't help you. Every innate who has the qualifications to enter the heaven realm has signed an agreement that they cannot kill each other because of personal or worldly grudges. Everything is for the sake of entering the heaven realm. If you want to kill the Prison Emperor Divine General, I'm afraid it won't be easy. Although he had only woken up after sleeping for 5,000 years, his strength has almost recovered. Even if he fought with the Supreme Elder Humans, he would probably have a 50-50 chance of winning. If you want to kill him now, I'm afraid it won't be easy. Furthermore, he has a lot of helpers. Just the 2 of us alone won't be able to deal with him. What if we add in an old tortoise? Yu Yang felt an indescribably wonderful feeling of her breasts pressing against his back. He immediately shamefully hardened. That old tortoise is good at defense, but not good at attack. It's useless. Impatience seemed to know that Yu Yang was aroused. Her hand slowly moved down from her chest to her lower abdomen, and then continued downwards, causing Yu Yang's blood to boil. He almost couldn't help but push her down not far from the Yu clan castle's entrance. My attack power is not bad. Yu Yang advertised. What kind of attack power? Phoenix Fairy Beauty's small hands flirtatiously slid past, intentionally or unintentionally touching that excited and high-spirited thing. Her cherry lips asked seductively beside Yu Yang's ear. Her voice sounded like she was panting and moaning at the same time, causing Yu Yang's heartbeat to increase by 300 beats. Yu Yang swallowed his saliva and pretended to be serious as he replied, "All of their attacks are pretty good. Why don't you test them?" "Where's the test?" Impatience kissed Yu Yang's earlobe gently, her breath like she was humming. "Let's go to your home." Yu Yang made a decision to save money. He could get a hotel room, but not only would it be a waste of money, he would also be afraid of the police. "Why don't we go to your house? I like to test it on your bed. It's exciting." Impatience gently lifted her calf and slowly rubbed against Yu Yang's thigh. Her hand reached into his pants as if she wanted to grab something fun. "Sorry, there's already someone on his bed." Shui Wuxia's voice suddenly came from behind. She was holding a book as she walked in front of the two of them. As if there was no one else around, she ignored them and said, "Please continue. I'm just passing by." Yu Yang sweated profusely. As expected, this girl was worried about him. Impatience giggled. Before she let go of Yu Yang, she actually pinched his cheeks. "Little rascal, next time you want to have an affair, remember to find a place where there's no one around. Don't let your wife catch you. That's too pitiful. Do you need to kneel on a washboard when you go back? Don't tell me you're a henpecked husband." Yu Yang was very vengeful. He also reached out to pinch her smooth cheeks. "Beauty, it seems like you were the one who seduced me just now, causing me to be caught by her, right?" When Impatience heard this, she elegantly shrugged her shoulders, causing her voluptuous breasts to sway. "Now, do you still want to go to my house?" Impatience blew on Yu Yang's face with a fragrance. "Yes." Yu Yang felt that the one who said no was Dongfang Booby. "My bed is so big, so soft, and so comfortable." Impatience smiled. Her smile was so beautiful that it could cause the downfall of a country. Yu Yang felt that this girl should be described by the phrase charming to death. No wonder King Zhou would be bewitched by a fox spirit. It turned out that there were really enchanting women in the world who could make people suffocate in the land of gentleness. Really? Yu Yang's eyes lit up. A blissful sexual life was waving at him. "Isn't this our mistress?" Shui Wuxia, who had disappeared just now, suddenly appeared in front of Yu Yang in Impatience. She closed the ancient book in her hands and asked Yu Yang curiously, "I seem to have heard that you want to go somewhere." "To her house." Yu Yang was a little flustered by her bright eyes. "Why are we going to her house?" Shui Wuxia's smile was as bright as the sun. There were no dark clouds, hail, lightning, or storm at all. "I want to test if her bed is big enough, soft enough." Yu Yang's answer was clear and logical, and his reasoning was sufficient. "It's your first time going to someone else's house, so you need to bring all the tools." "Have you brought all the tools?" Shui Wuxia smiled and stretched out her hand with a gentle face. She straightened Yu Yang's collar and took out a handkerchief to wipe Yu Yang's face, as if she was a virtuous wife sending her husband out to work. "I brought the tools with me." Yu Yang sweated profusely. He couldn't leave this tool at home. Otherwise, he would really become Dongfang Booby. "That's good. You have to work hard. I'll wait for you at home." Shui Wuxia's smile was as gentle as the morning breeze. Finally, she gave Yang a light kiss on his lips, just like a wife sending her husband off to work. Impatience saw this, and her expression was even more uncomfortable than if she had drunk 3 bowls of vinegar. Her eyes flickered as she suddenly realized that she had met a formidable opponent. Not a formidable opponent on the battlefield, but a formidable opponent on the field of love. Originally, she was only a little interested in Yang. She never thought of loving him for the rest of her life. She only felt a little uncomfortable because her sister spoiled and protected him, so she had to snatch away the man that her sister fancied. Finally, after experiencing life and death with Yu Yang, she felt that this man was more to her liking. Although she didn't really plan to live together with him, she couldn't help but want to tease him. Especially when she saw him being captivated by her charm, she felt happy in her heart. A woman's innate vanity was satisfied to the greatest extent. She knew that she had to be beautiful and attractive, but other men's greedy gazes made her feel disgusted. That was a kind of naked possessiveness, invasion, and humiliation. This brat's gaze was completely different. It was more of admiration and admiration. Although there was also some lust, it wasn't the main point. He liked her charm more than her body, not the two lumps of flesh in front of her chest. Yu Yang's gaze gave her a feeling of enjoyment. She enjoyed his admiration, enjoyed his arousal. Seducing him made her feel a great sense of accomplishment. However, just when Impatience thought that her charm was invincible, she realized that no matter how seductive she couldn't occupy the first place in his heart. No matter how impulsive his lust was, his gaze wouldn't be lost. Especially when this girl holding a book appeared, he would immediately change from a frivolous wastrel to an obedient child. Maybe he was pretending to be an obedient child, but at least he valued this girl holding an ancient book, which was why he was like that. He pretended to be serious to her, but he was frivolous to himself. This was the difference. It was the difference in the rankings of charm in his heart. He regarded her as the first, which was why he did that. Impatience looked at Shui Wuxia. She realized that this girl who carried an ancient book with her gave her a great sense of danger. This sense of danger was hard to describe. Impatience knew there was, but she couldn't say why. No one had ever given her such a great sense of danger. Never. This was not the difference in strength, but the difference in charm. As one of the three big shots of the demonic palace, Impatience had never thought that a 20-year-old girl would actually be able to win against her, and even defeat her. She, who possessed the charm inherent skill, had lost to a woman's seduction for the first time in 1,000 years. Other than her sister, could it be that there was a girl who was more outstanding than her? Impatience looked at Shui Wuxia, whose smile was like ice melting under the sun. Seriously. She realized that this was indeed a formidable opponent. Shui Wuxia seemed to have just noticed Impatience. She is the client who wanted to test the bed. Yu Yang introduced. Why don't you bring her home to test it? Our bed is bigger, softer, and more comfortable. There are also many girls at home. It doesn't matter if she sleeps on it or not. Why bother others? Bring her home. Her chest is quite big, but it doesn't take up much space. Shui Wuxia's words made Impatience feel as if she had been slapped in the face by someone. Are you really confident? Aren't you afraid of inviting a wolf into your house? Impatience stared at Shui Wuxia. In my eyes, a female wolf is actually the same as a female sheep, because they are both female. Shui Wuxia looked at Impatience calmly and smiled. My confidence depends on whether my mother's client likes our Xiao San's bed. If she doesn't like it, then my confidence will be very big. If she likes it, then my confidence is like my chest. It can't get bigger even if I wanted to. One interesting girl. Since it's like this, I really want to test the bed in your house and see if I like it. Impatience originally didn't want to care about the prison Emperor Divine General because she felt that it would be too difficult for Yu Yang to kill the prison Emperor Divine General. The prison Emperor Divine General was an old man from 6,000 years ago. Although he had lost a lot of power, he had already recovered after sleeping for thousands of years. He wasn't a Thousand Goblin sect leader, nor was he Shun Tian. It wasn't impossible for Yu Yang to kill the prison Emperor Divine General, but at least it was impossible for the time being. This was because no matter how much of a genius he was or how fast he improved, he wouldn't be able to catch up to an old man who had lived for thousands of years. In comparison, the great emperor of Ziwei, Shun Tian, had only lived for 900 years. The difference between him and the prison Emperor Divine Palace, who had lived for 6,000 years, was huge. Luckily, the prison Emperor Divine General had slept for thousands of years to recover from his heavy injuries. Otherwise, no one in the younger generation would be his match. Now that she was provoked by Shui Wuxia, she had the motivation to accompany him till the end. He wanted to play with this brat and see if he had the ability to kill the prison Emperor Divine General. Of course, the most important thing was to make this brat fall under his pomegranate skirt and make him his servant. After that, he would defeat this 20-year-old girl who gave him a great sense of danger. If this little girl grew up in the future, she would probably become someone like her sister. Impatience realized that she had underestimated her in the past. Other than Yu Yang, that abnormal brat, no one could compare to her speed of growth. She was even faster than herself in the past. Very good. Since it's like this, I will welcome you on behalf of my Xiao San's bed. Shui Wuxiao smiled indifferently and held Yu Yang's arm as naturally as a newlywed wife holding her husband's arm. She then opened a group golden teleportation door. Yu Yang turned around to look at Impatience. Shui Wuxiao reached out her hand and pinched his buttocks like a wife punishing her husband. You're still looking at me? Your eyeballs are going to drop to the ground if you keep looking. Impatience knew that she was trying to provoke him, but in the end, she still decided to follow them. She didn't care about men, but since there were people fighting for him, she might as well play with him. There is a saying in the world, no one plows a thin field, but someone fights for it. No matter what, she had to defeat this little girl who made her suffer. She definitely couldn't let another woman like her sister surpass her. No matter if it was strength or charm, she definitely couldn't. Furthermore, Yu Yang was quite interesting. He wasn't as annoying as other men. As for how to deal with this lecherous little rascal, it seemed like she had to guard the last hurdle. She definitely couldn't let him take advantage of her and eat her up. Impatience looked at Shui Wuxia's and Yu Yang's backs as they disappeared into the teleportation door. She then looked at the sky and thought, Sister, I want this man. I must snatch him away. Do you have any objections? High and mighty supreme human being, when you see your younger sister snatching away the man you love, what will you say? Your expression would definitely be very interesting, right? Chapter 319. The arrival of Impatience doubled the hostility of the girls. Other than sickly beauty, even Yu Bing had a hostile look as if her brother was about to be snatched away by this heavenly enchantress, let alone Castellan Fallen Flowers and Princess Sisai. However, there was also a benefit to her arrival. That was it allowed the girls to train hard. Because of the gap in strength and the threat of rivals in love, Princess Sisai and Castellan Fallen Flowers usually trained. Almost whenever Yu Yang was free, they would sit or stand beside him. On the one hand, it was to monitor Impatience and prevent her from seducing Yu Yang. On the other hand, it was to show their charm and not let this kid forget the old one when he had a new one. As for Shui Wuxia, who lured Impatience back, she didn't seem to care at all. Her days were no different from before. Other than practicing body fusion with Yu Yang, she usually held a book and read. In the beginning, Impatience didn't look down on the girls, but in her eyes, these little girls wouldn't be able to reach half of her strength, even if they trained for another 200 years. She felt that her only strong rival was the usually quiet Shui Wuxia. However, in less than 2 days, Impatience's view changed greatly. The speed of improvement of these little girls, not to mention ordinary people, was 100 times faster than peerless geniuses. Even under the careful guidance of her sister, she didn't have such speed of improvement. At this speed, it wouldn't take 200 years, perhaps 20 years to catch up with her. Especially Yu Yang's body fusion. It simply made Impatience gasp in amazement. She had never seen this kind of training before. Not only could Yu Yang improve by himself, but he could also improve together with his lover. Moreover, the more people who trained, the faster this kid improved. What kind of training was this? It's not that Impatience had never seen a cultivation method that required 2 people to practice together, but it could only be achieved by twin brothers or sisters who had a high degree of tacit understanding. How could there be a cultivation method that could be practiced by randomly pulling a little girl over? If he could casually pull anyone to cultivate with him, would there still be such a thing as chi deviation in this world? Not to mention ordinary martial artists. Even inborn experts would suffer from chi deviation and eventually become a cripple if they were to cultivate recklessly. The strangest thing was that Impatience saw that Yu Yang could use Nirvana's flame to purify these young ladies' bodies, but they would not be burned to death. Even his own body could not withstand the Nirvana flame. How could he control it to purify their bodies? The pure energy circulating in their bodies, what kind of cultivation method was it produced? There were also runes This kid actually knew about ancient runes, and he seemed to have mastered more ancient runes than her. As for the heaven runes, Impatience realized that the little girl called Yu Bing could recite more than 10 of them. On the 5th day, Impatience saw that Yu Yang had raised Princess Sisai to the lesser innate realm, and was extremely surprised. According to ordinary martial artists, they would need at least 50 years to train, and even a genius martial artist would need at least 10 years. However, with this kid's help, Princess Sisai only used 5 days to achieve what others would need 50 years to train. This speed was simply unbelievable. Moreover, Princess Sisai was not the only one who had leveled up at the same time. Within these 5 days, City Mistress Fallen Flowers, Inan, and Yu Bing had also leveled up. Because Impatience was here, Yu did not practice body fusion with Yu Yang anymore, and gave her time to Inan and Yu Bing. If they continued to train at this speed, Impatience believed that these young ladies would only need to train for another 3 years to catch up to her. In 5 years, they might even surpass her. Now, she understood why Yu Yang was able to fight against Shun Tian, Thousand Goblin sect leader and Great Demon King Baruth at the age of 20. The reason was that this brat had mastered a cultivation method that no one else in the world could match. With this kind of cultivation speed, whatever holy beasts guiding him, what good preparation, what spiritual chi accumulation, what spirit pills, according to this brat, were all just fleeting clouds. A thought flashed past Impatience's mind. Sister must have seen his ability. That's why she saw him in a different light, right? Otherwise, with her arrogant attitude that disregarded all men in the world, why would she be his introducer? No wonder that little girl, Shui Wuxia, dared to challenge him. The answer was already obvious. The reason was that she was his fiancée and cultivated with him every day. It was hard for her not to improve at a high speed. After another 2 days, City Mistress Fallen Flowers' three-tailed snow fox leveled up from Platinum ranked level 4 to Platinum ranked level 5. Yu Yang started to think about how to help it evolve. Once the evolution was successful, the three-tailed snow fox would gain intelligence and become a holy beast. Seeing this, Impatience could not hold it anymore. I also want to practice that body fusion with him. Also, we will exchange and share the secrets of heaven runes and ancient runes. Impatience stated her conditions. She could not tolerate her tortoise speed of cultivation. Before she saw Princess Sisai, City Mistress Fallen Flowers, and the others improve, she felt that her cultivation speed was not slow at all. Other than her sister, who was the supreme elder of the human race, no one could compare to her. Even the great emperor of Ziwei, Shun Tian, and the Thousand Goblin sect leader had to stand aside. However, after coming to the Little Flower Garden for only 7 days, she felt that her views needed to be changed. Sharing heaven runes and ancient runes, I don't object to you practicing body fusion. However, if you want to obtain our personal insights, then you need to exchange your special insights. Shui Wuxia had already discussed this with Princess Sisai and the others. She knew that Impatience would not be able to resist the urge to practice body fusion. When you practice, we must be present. You're not allowed to practice with Yu Yang privately. Princess Sisai added another condition. She was afraid that this Impatience would do something with Yu Yang while practicing. Although Impatience was currently an ally, it was uncertain whether they would be friends or enemies in the future. Princess Sisai felt that it was best for Yu Yang not to be too close to her. As for Shui Wuxia and Princess Sisai's conditions, Impatience smiled and did not reply immediately. Instead, she asked City Mistress Fallen Flowers, "What about you? Do you have anything else to add?" City Mistress Fallen Flowers shrugged her shoulders. "Of course there is. You cannot enjoy any special privileges. You can only practice for 2 hours a day." Yu Yang had just returned from opening up Yu Bing and Inan's meridians. He only heard the latter sentence. "What are you guys talking about? What 2 hours?" He was a little curious. This Impatience usually did not see eye to eye with the girls. Why was she secretly discussing with them today? When Impatience saw that Yu Yang had returned, she immediately used her charm inherent skill. Her voice was as sweet as honey. She laughed softly. "I want that too." Yu Yang was startled at first. Then, he immediately reacted. This girl seemed to want to practice body fusion with him. However, he immediately rejected. No way. Why? His reaction really surprised impatience. Why would he reject her? Not to mention her. Even Shui Wuxia and the others did not expect this. Ahem, think about it. You're not related to me. You're not my fiancée, nor are you my sister. It's not good to have intimate physical contact. You're a woman, and it's bad for your reputation. Yu Yang did not dare to say that he was afraid that this impatience would see through his innate, invisible sword chi and secretly learn it. If he did not have the innate invisible sword chi as his foundation, no matter how miraculous body fusion was, he would not be able to level up every few days. All of this was because Yu Yang had the innate, invisible sword chi. Yu Yang knew that the most special thing about him was that the heavenly sword goddess taught him the innate, invisible sword chi in his dream world. If he did not have this, no matter how hard he worked, he would probably be the same as Xue Tanlang, Prince of Tianluo, and the others. He would not be able to reach the age of 20 and become an innate a year ago. He would be able to easily kill Machi Su Ling, who had the power of a level 5 innate. Without the innate invisible sword chi, Yu Yang would not be able to open up the meridians of Princess Sisai and City Mistress Fallen Flowers one by one and help them get close to the innate realm. Body fusion was only the best bridge. The most important thing was the innate, invisible sword chi. Yu Yang did not know what kind of special ability the impatience had. What if she had the ability to slowly find out his secrets after getting close to him? I have already killed 10,000 people. How could I still be innocent? Furthermore, it's so tiring to always care about reputation. The impatience laughed. Who are you trying to fool? You're obviously still a virgin. What do you mean by killing 10,000 people? Even an 8-year-old wouldn't believe you. After interacting with her for the past few days, Yu Yang had already made an accurate judgment. This impatience's body was emitting a strange fragrance. It was the same fragrance as Princess Sisai and City Mistress Fallen Flowers. He believed that it was the scent of a virgin. The sickly beauty's body also had that scent before, but it had already changed into another kind of fragrance that smelled extremely good. After the change, the fragrance became softer and more fragrant, but the original hint of immaturity had disappeared. How did you know? The impatience was a little dumbfounded. She had hidden her aura very well. Other than her sister who had the divine eyes, she did not expect this kid to be able to see through it. How'd he see through it? It can't be. She is actually still a virgin? Princess Sisai and the others were also dumbfounded. Only Shui Wuxia and Sickly Beauty looked normal. The Sickly Beauty and Shui Wuxia had once compared their bodies. The result was that there were many different changes in their bodies that were almost the same. The Sickly Beauty's body and skin were more moist. Her chest, waist, buttocks, legs, and even eyebrows had slight changes. These were all the mature characteristics of a wife. There were many differences between her and the virgin Shui Wuxia. As for the impatience, although she was dressed like a demon, her childish eyebrows were still there. Her pelvis was not open. Her waist was soft and still. Her buttocks were perky but not plump. Her skin was smooth but not glowing. There was a big difference between her and the current Sickly Beauty. The only thing that made people envious was her snow-white breasts. They were naturally tall and straight. If she had such big breasts as a virgin, it would be even more exaggerated if she became a wife. I guessed it. Yu Yang heard that he had let it slip. You messed with me last time. You broke my most important thing. You have to take responsibility. Only a little thief like you had touched me before. You even hurt me there. If you don't take responsibility, I will fight you to the death. When the impatient said that, City Mistress Fallen Flowers, who was drinking water, spat out. Where did you hurt? Yu Yang asked curiously. It's that most tender place. It's very tender and thin. Impatience was prepared to explain in detail to Yu Yang. Yu Yang hurriedly waved his hands. I'm innocent. I can guarantee that there's no such thing. Feng Xian did not let it go. You made it bleed, and you still say there's no such thing? If you say there's no such thing, I'll cry myself to death in front of you. Hearing that, Yu Yang patted his chest to show that he was afraid. He then asked Shui Wuxiao and the others for help. You guys were there at that time. Tell me if there's any such thing. Why don't you guys check her? I really didn't break it. She's still a virgin. Don't you guys think that I'm being wronged? Shui Wuxiao smiled slightly. Big breast girl, I'm not sure whether he broke it or not. But I can guarantee that even if he didn't, you would definitely break it when you practice body fusion with him. You better think about it carefully. We are all his fiancés. That step will happen sooner or later. If you're an outsider, then you'll be at a disadvantage. Our family Shaosan's ability to steal food is very strong. We can't guarantee that he'll be very obedient. You better think about it yourself. Impatience really muttered to herself and thought for a while. In the end, she giggled. Don't try to bluff me. Even beginner sisters can cultivate. So what if I'm not his fiancé? I'll cultivate the same type as Yu Bing and Yu Yu. Little thief, try it if you have the ability. Maybe you'll really get what you want. Yu Yang did not reply. He only swallowed his saliva secretly. If he said that Impatience wanted to practice body fusion with him, it would definitely be a lie if he was not tempted. Princess Sisai mumbled softly. It's still uncertain who will push you down. In the beginning, Yu Yang and Impatience did not dare to use their innate chi when they practiced body fusion. They only used the 5-color divine light and nirvana flame to strengthen and purify the great sky demoness body. Yu Yu, who knew what would happen, pulled Yu Bing and Inan into the grimoire world to build Yu Yang's new home. Princess Sisai and City Mistress Fallen Flower stay behind. They endured their shyness and watched over them. To be precise, they were watching over Impatience. They were afraid that the great sky demoness would push Yu Yang down. At the same time, they also left sickly beauty behind. If Yu Yang really could not hold back his anger, she, his ready-made wife, could serve him for a while to vent the excess anger in his body. However, when they started cultivating, Yu Yang gradually immersed himself in it. In the end, he relied on his instincts to practice body fusion, completely forgetting about his previous vigilance. Of course, his vigilance was unnecessary because Impatience did not have the ability to secretly learn. Even if she did not think of finding out his secret. Most importantly, Yu Yang didn't know that without the heavenly sword goddess's sword spirit empowerment, no one would be able to learn the innate, invisible sword chi. Even if Yu Yang wrote it down from memory, organized it into a book, and distributed it to the whole world, this innate skill would not be any more effective than the worst mercenaries' iron chopping blade technique or crushing stone hammer technique. Without this sword spirit empowerment, no one would be able to learn a true, innate skill. It was even more impossible to be like Yu Yang, who could casually use his fingers or even any part of his body to release this sword chi. Oh my God, I'm going to die. Under the purification and burning of the Nirvana's flame, Impatience felt both pain and comfort, moaning nonstop. So noisy, Yu Yang could no longer resist her natural charm, inherent skill. His last bit of rationality was gradually lost. He pressed Impatience under his body, lowered his face, and sealed Impatience's moaning mouth with his lips. Countless innate chi gushed out and flowed towards Impatience's body that was being purified by the Nirvana's flame. The two-pronged purification caused Impatience, who was pressed down by Yu Yang, to tremble. She was still clear-headed and in pain, but she could not reject this Nirvana rebirth process. As long as she persevered until the last moment, her body would be completely purified and she would become a brand new great sky demoness. The innate level 9 that had been stagnant for 100 years would be able to break through in one go. Actually, back in the Demon Palace, her body had already been purified once. But the purification time was extremely short, only a few seconds. With her innate level 9 strength, she would be able to recover very quickly. Now, the purification of the Nirvana's flame this time was a long burning process. It might take an hour, or a few hours, or even longer. If not for the special, pure energy in her body that was nourishing her body and repairing her damaged meridians, Impatience felt that she would have fainted from the pain. In her body, some of the meridians that were slightly unobstructed were forcefully opened up wider channels. Some of the meridians that she did not know about were also opened up, forming new channels. Impatience was in extreme pain, and she instinctively wanted to struggle. However, she knew that this was a nirvana rebirth process. It was a miracle that only happened once in 1,000 years. It was a nirvana rebirth purification that others could only dream of. She forcefully endured it with her willpower and did not resist the invasion of Yu Yang's innate chi at all. No matter where his nirvana's flame ignited, she endured it with all her might. Her clothes had long melted, and her sweat evaporated into steam. Her smooth skin sizzled as it burned and regenerated continuously. That kind of process was simply unimaginable pain. Impatience knew that there were impurities in her own energy. It was not as pure as Shui Wuxia and the others. Moreover, it had accumulated too much, so the pain she had to endure was even greater, and the purification time was also much longer. If I die, then so be it. Impatience opened up her pair of jade arms and hugged Yu Yang tightly. This was the only way for her to restrain herself from struggling and escaping. Within the nirvana's flame, countless runes seeped out from Yu Yang's body and merged with the runes that appeared on Impatience's body, forming a new pattern. Heaven runes and ancient runes continuously merged and glowed in Impatience's burnt and regenerated body. They continuously interacted with the various runes on Yu Yang's body, as if they were alive. In the end, they floated in midair and formed a galaxy of runes. When they touched the bodies of Shui Wuxia, Princess Sisai, and City Mistress Fallen Flowers, they also activated the runes on their bodies, placing them into this small sea of runes. The Nirvana's flame pillar soared into the sky. Shui Wuxia, Princess Sisai, and City Mistress Fallen Flowers were different from Impatience. They had already been purified countless times, so they did not feel much pain in the Nirvana's flame. Instead, they felt a sense of joy as if they were bathed in fire and reborn. Those like Little One Li, Bloody Queen Red, Barbarian Cow Shadow on Man, and the Sleepy Thorny Flower Demoness stood in the Nirvana's flame pillar and bathed in the Nirvana's flame together. Those who could not stayed at the edge of the sea of runes, enjoying the process of the runes merging with their bodies. This process was very long, maybe more than an hour. When the Nirvana's flame disappeared and the sea of runes gradually dimmed, returning to Yu Yang's body, Impatience's diamond grimoire suddenly appeared. It automatically flipped to the title page that recorded inherent skills and guardian beasts. Following that, a golden pillar of light soared into the sky. Charm, inherent skill, guardian beasts, and Impatience herself all leveled up at this moment. The naked Impatience floated out from under Yu Yang's body and soared 100 meters into the sky. Her aura was like a tsunami that could topple mountains and overturn seas, spreading out in all directions. At this moment, her body had fused with her guardian beasts. Purple demon wings that were more than 10 meters long quickly extended out from her back. Behind her snow-white buttocks, there was also a spiked tail. On top of her head, there was a small and cute demon horn. Her 10 jade-like fingernails also gradually lengthened, becoming purple demon claws. The most obvious change was her eyes. Her pupils were deep purple, like the eyes of a demon king. A light wheel that was formed from deep purple, crimson purple, and light purple perfectly and ingeniously combined, surrounding Impatience's body. These special signs all showed that Impatience's guardian beast, Succubus, had leveled up to Diamond Level 10 Great Demon King. Impatience let out a scream, and the whole ground shook. A tornado-like energy spun around her body crazily. Even the golden pillar of light that shot out from the grimoire seemed to be distorted by it. After breaking through the 100-year bottleneck, Impatience had been bitterly training but could not break through to innate level 10. Suddenly, she rushed up from innate level 9 and successfully stepped into this new realm. Chapter 320. Ever since she reached innate level 10, Impatience's attitude had undergone a huge change. She, who was originally at loggerheads with the other girls, would now welcome Princess Sisai with a smile when she saw her stern face. Every day, she would either study heaven runes with sickly beauty or discuss with Shui Wuxia about their understanding of body fusion. Otherwise, she would help Yu Yang guide Yu and Anan. Of course, towards Yu Yang, her attitude was the best. That little thief, combined with her unique clear voice and charm, inherent skill, when she said it sweetly, it was so sweet that even Yu Bing, who didn't understand the relationship between men and women, would feel goosebumps on her arms when she heard it. Impatience, who was originally a little lazy, only eating and sleeping all day, had now become very diligent. She was extremely passionate about training. Only when Yu Yang was free, she would pull him to do body fusion. Now that she had broken through the bottleneck and reached innate level 10, she had a new goal. That was Ji Zun innate. According to Impatience, Ji Zun innate was another kind of innate realm. It was a higher level innate realm and was also divided into 10 levels. Of course, innate level 10 was the beginning of Ji Zun level 1. With this new starting point, Impatience would definitely not give up the chance to catch up to her sister. Impatience didn't say what level Ji Zun was at, nor did she say that she was Ji Zun's sister. However, Yu Yang had long suspected it. This Impatience looked a little similar to Ji Zun, especially her pair of big breasts. Other than these two sisters, Yu Yang had never seen anyone else with such beautiful breasts. Furthermore, their background were very similar. Ji Zun had even told Yu Yang that she had a rebellious sister, and because of this, she gave Yu Yang unlimited freedom. Of course, Big-Breasted Lady didn't mention it, and neither did Yu Yang and the other girls. Every day, Yu Yang would transfer innate qi to the Impatience to purify the energy in her body. Sometimes, he would even use Nirvana's flame. The focus of body fusion was not on her, who had already reached innate level 10, but on Princess Sisai, who was preparing to break through to innate. With Yu Yang's help and the influence of her love rival, Princess Sisai's improvement was tremendous. Initially, she needed a month to break through to the innate realm, but now she was considering breaking through to the innate realm in 22 days. If it wasn't for Yu Yang, who advised her to wait for 2 more days, fearing that she might harm her health by being too hasty, Princess Sisai would have already wanted to break through to the innate realm 2 days ago. In the end, under Yu Yang's persuasion, Princess Sisai decided to break through to the innate realm on the 25th day, just when she was full of confidence and was about to fulfill her wish. Suddenly, something changed her plan. The reason was that the old cunning fox came to the little flower garden and brought a piece of shocking news. Jun Wuyu, Elder Yu Hai, and the other rankers from Xia and Tianluo were released by the Eastern Goblin Tribe's Dragon Emperor. They were escorted by the 2 heavenly Imperial Guardians into the God's Ruins ancient passage. Because of the corrupted warriors and the Eastern Goblin Tribe's rebel army's pursuit, Xia's State Grandmaster was forced to activate a teleportation circle, sending Jun Wuyu and the others to another ancient passage that no one had ever set foot in before. In the end, when the heavenly Imperial Guardians defeated the enemies, they found out that innate rankers were unable to enter the ancient passage's teleportation gate. There's a restriction there. The old cunning fox had already become an innate, but he could only sigh. The only way he could think of was to see if Yu Yang, this abnormal brat, had any good ideas. Maybe this abnormal innate rancor could enter. After all, in the summoning grimoire, Yu Yang was only a level 4 champion. He wasn't even a level 5 grandmaster yet. If Yu Yang was also unable to enter the ancient passage, then the old cunning fox hoped that Princess Sisai and Shui Wuxia could enter and think of a way to bring Jun Wuyu, Elder Yu Hai, and the others out. Can't I get someone to bring me into the grimoire world? Impatience couldn't bear to leave Yu Yang, who helped her purify her energy every day. No, a few heavenly Imperial Guardians had already tried. There is a strict restriction on innate rankers. They are unable to enter. The old cunning fox shook his head and sighed. Then I'll go back and prepare first. We'll meet back here 3 days later. Impatience didn't reject the idea of entering the prison Emperor Divine Palace anymore. Now that she had leveled up to innate level 10, her confidence had increased. Yu Yang couldn't bring her into the ancient passage, so she decided to return to the demonic palace first and prepare a little. After all, the prison Emperor Divine Palace wasn't a simple place. She had to make ample preparations. Then let's go. Princess Sisai rejoiced. Luckily, she didn't rush to the innate realm. Otherwise, she might not be able to bring her father back. Let's go. City Mistress Fallen Flowers also had the same thought. Brother, Yu Bing was afraid that Yu Yang would stay outside and not be able to enter. If that was the case, she wouldn't be able to fight together with her brother and save her grandfather. It's all right, let's go. Yu Yang placed sickly beauty, Yu Yu and Inan into his grimoire world. He carried his sister Yu Bing on his back and followed the old cunning fox towards the ancient passage in the gods' ruins with Princess Sisai, City Mistress Fallen Flowers, and Shui Wuxia. This ancient passage was completely different from the one that chased after the Eastern Goblet tribe. It was also a tall and majestic passage, but it was extremely damp. Water droplets dripped down from the cracks above. Some places even formed a water curtain. The water on the ground was extremely deep. In front of a teleportation circle, the heavenly imperial guardians of Dixia and Tian Luo were helpless. No one would have thought that there would be such a restriction that prevented them from entering to save people. What worried them the most was that this teleportation circle had never been opened by anyone before. No one had ever stepped into it before, so they didn't know if there was any danger inside. The corrupted warriors and the Eastern Goblin tribe's rebel army would definitely not give up. There might even be another wave of attack. The heavenly imperial guardians couldn't leave. Before saving people, they had to guard this teleportation circle to prevent the corrupted warriors and the rebel army from destroying it. They hoped that Yu Yang could bring about a miracle. At the very least, he could ask Princess Sisai and the others to go in and take a look and bring Jun Wu Yu and the other warriors back. Try it. You might be able to do it. The ascetic practice saint didn't dare to have high hopes. Everyone else had the same thought. They didn't think that the restriction would be an exception for Yu Yang. They only hoped that he would try his luck. Don't worry, I will definitely save everyone. Yu Yang was afraid that there would be an ambush once he entered. So he put City Mistress Fallen Flowers and Yu Bing into the grimoire world. Then he pulled Princess Sisai and Shui Wuxia with his left and right hands respectively. Under the watchful eyes of the heavenly imperial guardians, the state grandmaster and the old fox, he walked towards the teleportation circle. The state grandmaster hurriedly activated the teleportation circle. A dazzling light flashed, and Yu Yang, Princess Sisai, and Shui Wuxia disappeared at the same time. Ah, this brat is really abnormal. The ascetic practice saint and the others were dumbfounded. The restriction prevented all innates from entering, but Yu Yang was an exception. It was probably because this brat was only a level 4 hero and had already become an innate, unlike the others who were all level 9 saints. The restriction here could possibly prohibit level 9 saints and not innates. Of course, no one knew the truth. Anything could happen in the gods' ruins. Since Yu Yang could enter, it couldn't be better. The ascetic practice saint was so happy that he put his hand on his forehead. When he was teleported out, Yu Yang felt that he had fallen into the water. Luckily, he was still holding on to Qian and Wu Xia. If not, it would be even worse if he lost them. This also proved that the people who entered were not teleported to different places, but to the same entrance. Now, he just had to follow the trail to find Jun Wu Yu and the others. Little Wenli quietly came out. She secretly summoned Stone Element Medusa and Storm Beauty. In the water, their battle power would increase by a few times. Stone Element Medusa also summoned the Golden Tiger Shark to help her search for traces of Jun Wu Yu and the others. The Tiger Shark was extremely sensitive to fresh blood. If Jun Wu Yu and the others were injured, it would definitely sniff them out. Looking at the surroundings, this should be an underground cave. Shui Wuxia floated up to the surface and observed for a while. When Yu Yang, who was searching for traces underwater, surfaced, she said softly, "So big." Princess Qian used her hand to wipe the water off her face. She discovered that there were many stalactites hanging densely above her head. The largest ones were the size of a house and were tens of meters long. The smallest ones were tens of meters long and were shaped like spears. The top of the cave was quite high. Many water droplets dripped down, forming a waterfall. Yu Yang rode on the back of the golden tiger shark and shouted, "Is anyone there?" His voice echoed in the cave for a long time. After waiting for a long time, there was no response. Jun Wu Yu and the others were probably long gone. The two girls leaned on Yu Yang's left and right, holding on his arms. The golden tiger shark swam forward based on the remaining weak scent. In fact, it was unable to determine the exact direction. The direction it was heading in was mainly due to Yu Yang and Little Wen Li's senses, especially Little Wen Li's senses, which were more accurate than Yu Yang and Shui Wuxia's senses. After swimming for a while, the golden tiger shark became excited, because it smelled blood. Moreover, it was a fresh blood smell. It was as if someone had just started a battle here. Was this the blood of the experts from Jun Wu Yu and the others? There were no strong enemies. They were all experts. How could they be injured? Could it be that there were other terrifying creatures in this cave? When Yang thought about it, he immediately frowned. Stone Element Medusa and Storm Mermaid pointed in a direction, indicating that there was a strong creature in front of them. Was it Jun Wu Yu and the others, or the owner of the cave? After thinking for a while, Yu Yang decided to go and take a look. After swimming forward for a few kilometers, he suddenly saw a large lake-like underground world. There were many strange fish in the water, as well as countless kinds of aquatic plants. They were like man-eating vines that floated in the water. Once a fish swam near, they would immediately prey on it. The golden tiger shark was almost hit. Fortunately, it was considered a tyrant in the water. It struggled with all its might and escaped from danger. There was no need for Yu Yang to do anything. At the rocky shore of the lake at the bottom of the cave, there was a large piece of bubbling beach mud, emitting a strange stench. Storm Mermaid's face revealed a look of extreme disgust. Stone Element Medusa had already drawn her bow. It was obvious that they had discovered the enemy. Ancient giant crab? No, that's not right. This should be a corrosive ghost face crab. With his heaven eyes divine vision, Yu Yang discovered that there was a cunning enemy hiding under the beach mud. It was extremely huge, about the same size as the mountain-like ancient giant crab he saw in the Cancer Temple. Moreover, this fellow's level was gold-ranked level 6. I'll fight it. Princess Sisai felt that this ghost-faced crab did not need Yu Yang to do anything. She could take care of it herself. Be careful, this crab is not simple. Furthermore, most crabs live in groups. I'm afraid there's more than one of them. Shui Wuxia thought that there would at least be a male and a female. This thing is not just one, but a whole nest. Yu Yang's heaven eyes divine vision could detect that there were a few more hiding in the deeper parts of the mud. There might even be more corrosive ghost-faced crabs in the deepest parts. The most terrifying thing was that there was a passage above the beach where they were hiding. There seemed to be a few human footprints on it. Those were most likely left behind by Jun Wu Yu and the others when they passed through. Why don't we fly through the air? It's not good to be entangled with them for too long. It's more important for us to find them. Shui Wuxia felt that it would be troublesome to fight them. These ghost-faced crabs had high levels and hard shells. They could also drill into the mud. It would be too tiring to fight them in the mud. Boom boom. Before Shui Wuxia could finish her sentence, two corrosive ghost-faced crabs drilled out from the mud, revealing their mountain-like bodies. They looked extremely clumsy, but they were actually extremely fast. They pounced on them aggressively. Chapter 321. How could there be a few gold-ranked level 6 corrosive ghost-faced crabs here at the same time? This was definitely impossible to see in the Soaring Dragon Continent. In the Soaring Dragon Continent, even in the lower floors of Tong Tian Tower, a gold-ranked beast was already a king. With his heaven eyes divine vision, Yu Yang discovered that these corrosive ghost-faced crabs were not kings, but their levels were extremely high. In other words, they were just shrimp soldiers and crab generals, yet they were already so powerful. If a king beast appeared here, Yu Yang would not have a problem. However, if Junwu Yu and the others met one, they would not be able to escape unscathed. Princess Sisai waved her giant sword and unleashed her white tiger chi, slashing between the eyes of the first corrosive ghost-faced crab. For normal crab-type beasts, the area between their eyes was their fatal weakness. Warriors could use their heavy blows and burst out of their swords to break or shatter the giant crab's eyeballs. Then the giant crab would be defeated irreversibly. Of course, this was not only limited to giant crab beasts. The eyes were the weakness of almost all beasts, except for the ghost-eyed bug, which had hundreds of eyes. For the giant crab with a thick shell, hitting its back or claws was useless. It was equivalent to scratching an itch. Attacking the eyes first to break the enemy's vision was the most efficient way. The heavy blows from the white tiger chi and the emperor's sword chi caused the corrosive ghost-faced crab to feel pain. However, its super-fast reaction, strong carapace defense, and strange long-stalked eyes that could easily shrink and retract made Princess Qian Qian's all-out attack ineffective. The corrosive ghost-faced crab's eyeballs were different from normal beasts. They looked a bit like the antennae of a snail, but they weren't soft. The long handle-shaped eyeballs were also wrapped in hard armor and looked like a long hammer. It could shrink back, or it could be placed horizontally in its eye socket. On top of the eye socket, there was a huge eye cover that protected its only weakness that was hard to be damaged by swords. If it was not for Princess Sisai's fierce sword chi, it probably would not have shrunk back into its strange long eyes. Be careful! Yu Yang could not help but remind her. This dark-type, corrosive ghost-faced crab looked a little cunning. She could not be careless. I know. Princess Sisai was very confident. She felt that she could take down a giant crab by herself. She was no longer the Princess Sisai when he first met her. On the other side of the water, Shui Wuxia, Stone Element Medusa, and Storm Mermaid were fighting against the second monster. Unlike Princess Sisai's frontal sword ki attacks, Shui Wuxia's attacks were more of a hit-and-run style. She wouldn't attack easily, but once she did, it would be a lethal ambush that combined lightning and ice. Once she attacked, the enemy would definitely be heavily injured, and there wouldn't be a second result. The Stone Element Medusa was also waiting for an opportunity. Once the giant crab opened its mouth, she would not mind sending a petrifying rocket into it. The Storm Mermaid was luring the giant crab in front. She was swimming 10 times faster than it. If needed, she could summon a whirlpool of water to drag the giant crab into the water or shoot it into the sky. Other than being in charge of providing support in secret, Yu Yang was also secretly monitoring the movements of the other corrosive ghost-faced crabs. It was a rare opportunity, so he decided to give Princess Sisai a try. It would be a warm-up for him to enter the prison Emperor Divine Palace. When Princess Sisai waved her sword to attack, he had already flown to the footprints that looked like human footprints and examined them carefully. Those weren't the footprints of Junwu Yu and the others, but the holes created by the methane. After a period of time, the holes were gradually filled up with mud, leaving only shallow footprints that looked like human footprints. Of course, these holes could also be the work of the corrosive ghost-faced crabs after they spat out bubbles. Yu Yang did not sense any human presence, so he did not insist on exploring the cave under the mud to see if there were any treasures. Right now, it was more important to find Junwu Yu and Elder Yu Hai. When he saw that the remaining corrosive ghost-faced crabs had all come out, intending to surround him, he immediately took out his crescent blade, Crescent Moon, and ignited it with purple flames, using his Yang ability to create a fire dragon. Fire was a good way to deal with beasts. Of course, fire-type beasts were an exception. The few corrosive ghost-faced crabs all spat out vomit-inducing mud in an attempt to stop the fire dragon. Their speed was very fast. 2 of them spread out to the sides, while the other one drilled into the sand and came out from the water. It waved its giant pincers and fiercely pincers towards Yu Yang. If one was hit by these giant pincers, even a mammoth's leg would be broken. However, The person it met was Yu Yang. Among the younger generation, Yu Yang was definitely the killer of gold-ranked beasts. The number of gold-ranked beasts that had died in front of Yu Yang was uncountable. I'll let you have a taste of ice and fire. Yu Yang waved his blade and activated his ability. Instantly, the space around him turned into an icy hell. When the giant pincers almost clamped onto Yu Yang's body, they were frozen stiff. Their movements were extremely slow. The corrosive ghost-faced crab that was attacking Yu Yang immediately ran away, but the terrifying purple flames covered the sky and covered the earth. Yu Yang's other hand took out his Hui Jin magic blade and fiercely slashed at the frozen giant pincers. Waves of heat rolled, instantly burning the giant pincers until they sizzled. The ice on the pincers turned into gas, and the thick bristles on the pincers were also set ablaze. That ghost-faced crab had just spat out a mouthful of mud on the pincers when Yu Yang had already flashed in front of its mouth, shooting a fire dragon straight into it. That ghost-faced crab struggled desperately, as if it had fallen into boiling water. I'll let you have a good time. The crescent moon blades, ability, fiercely slashed at the burning mouth. In an instant, a lump of ice was stuffed into the ghost-faced crab's mouth, freezing its eyes as well. In less than 10 seconds, the ice and fire energies collided and created a huge mess, causing a huge explosion. With a loud bang, the ghost-faced crab's mouth was blown open. The crab's gills, internal organs, vital organs, mud, and other messy things were all blown out. The remaining 3 ghost-faced crabs reacted extremely quickly. Seeing their comrade die, they immediately waved their pincers and burrowed into the mud, distancing themselves from Yu Yang. On the other side, Shui Wuxia had already frozen the corrosive ghost-faced crab in front of her. Although that corrosive ghost-faced crab wasn't dead, it definitely wouldn't be able to escape back to the mud under the beach alive. The stone element Medusa's golden arrow pierced through its long-handled eyeball. The eyeball slowly changed color, turned gray, and finally petrified. It wanted to sink to the bottom of the water, but the storm mermaid was a master at controlling water. A huge water pillar lifted the ghost-faced crab's huge body out of the water, and Shui Wuxia tacitly followed up with another thunderbolt. In the blink of an eye, that gold-ranked level 6 ghost-faced crab had turned into a roasted crab. However, this ghost-faced crab still wasn't dead. The tenacity of its vitality was beyond her imagination. The stone element Medusa's snake hair contained the fake Nirvana's flame that Gemini Temple's Yu Yang had released. Although it wasn't as strong as the real Nirvana's flame, its power was still something that normal beasts couldn't defend against. The snake hair wriggled as it opened its mouth and shot fire arrows at the ghost-faced crab's frozen mouth and eyes. This was a little different from the ice and fire collision that Yu Yang had created just now, but the effect was similar. The energy of ice and fire collided, creating a huge explosion. This explosion created a huge wave, splashing water all over the sky. The ghost-faced crab's jaws and long-handled eyeballs were blown far away. The ghost-faced crab still hadn't died, but it didn't have the strength to struggle anymore as its body and claws collapsed. The storm mermaid used a huge wave to push it towards the beach, breaking 2 of its claws in the process. Seeing that Yu Yang and Shui Wuxia had finished off their enemies, Princess Sisai was a little anxious. She had slashed the corrosive ghost-faced crab in front of her until it was covered with cuts and bruises, but she couldn't use a fatal blow. Of course, it wasn't because she wasn't strong enough, but because the huge sword in her hands wasn't a good weapon. It was only a bronze-ranked heavy sword. The previous huge sword had been broken several times, and in the end, it was broken by the fake Yu Qiu's death ray. She didn't have a suitable weapon anymore. Even though there were many high-leveled weapons in the Xia Kingdom's treasury, there wasn't a huge sword that she was used to. Yu Yang had originally wanted to forge a huge sword for her, but he had to prepare to help her break through to innate these few days, so he couldn't find the time to forge one. Holding a bronze-ranked weapon wouldn't be able to unleash Princess Sisai's full power. Seeing that the ghost-faced crab was about to escape, Princess Sisai did a somersault and chased after it. Her body somersaulted and landed on the ground. Her bronze-ranked, huge sword followed the Emperor's sword chi and the white tiger's chi, forcefully piercing into the mouth of the crab. The huge sword that was almost 2 meters long pierced through the crab's mouth. Just when Princess Sisai thought that she could finish off the enemy, the extremely tenacious ghost-faced crab suddenly spat out a black, corrosive acid from its injured mouth. Princess Sisai covered her face with her arms and quickly retreated. Her entire body was covered with a silver-colored heavy armor, so normal acid wouldn't be able to harm her body at all. However, when this kind of terrifying acid splashed onto her silver armor, it immediately corroded her armor rapidly, sizzling and emitting green smoke. Yu Yang was shocked and teleported in front of her in a flash. Crescent Blade flashed and cut her armor piece by piece. At the same time, he used his right hand to tear off the broken armor to prevent her body from being corroded by the acid. In less than 2 seconds, Yu Yang had skinned Princess Sisai into a little white sheep. "Be careful!" Shui Wuxia shouted from behind. Whoosh whoosh. The eye stalks of the corrosive ghost-faced crab suddenly exploded and shot out 2 emerald-green water arrows towards Princess Sisai and Yu Yang. Princess Sisai couldn't care less. Her natural reaction was to hug Yu Yang tightly and flip backwards. Carrying Yu Yang, she cleverly dodged the attack of the 2 water arrows. When she came back to her senses, she realized that her actions were very ambiguous. She hugged Yu Yang's head in her arms, and this lad's head was buried on her naked breasts. Princess Qian couldn't help but feel embarrassed. She wanted to say something, but Yu Yang acted as if he didn't see it. Once he steadied himself, he immediately checked her entire body carefully. In the end, he discovered that her skin was flawless and had not been damaged by the acid. Only then did he let out a long sigh of relief. Princess Sisai covered her breast with one hand and punched him with a weak fist. She said angrily, "What are you doing?" Yu Yang then realized that Tigress was shy. Actually, every time they dual cultivated, her clothes would be ruined. It wasn't like he hadn't seen her breast before. He just pretended not to know. Of course, he still had to take care of Tigress's face. He laughed it off. "I thought you were injured just now. Luckily, you're not hurt at all." Princess Sisai was touched and embarrassed at the same time. She rolled her eyes at him. "You're the one who's injured. You don't even know how to dodge the water arrows. Idiot blockhead. I have the 5-color divine light. Moreover, it's just a small poisonous water arrow. It's useless against me." Yu Yang chuckled. "You're so annoying, you big baddie." Princess Sisai thought that he was right. This lad had the 5-color divine light, so the poison would be like a tonic to him. She was too anxious just now, so her natural reaction was to hug him. Then, wouldn't that be letting him off lightly? Thinking of this, her face became even redder. Seeing that he brought her clothes again, she took a closer look and realized that it was her clothes this time, not Yu Bing's small and narrow clothes. She felt a little sweet in her heart, but she still scolded him. "Who allowed you to take other people's clothes?" Underwear. You big pervert." When she saw that Yu Yang had even collected her underwear and bra, she immediately became extremely embarrassed. She raised her fist, vowing to not forgive him. Shui Wuxia pretended not to see it. As for the stone element Medusa and the storm mermaid, they watched with interest. At the same time, they secretly learned this kind of human behavior. To them, this kind of intimate interaction and emotional communication was what they lacked the most in their lives. If they wanted to become holy beasts, they had to learn more from their master. After quickly changing her clothes, Princess Sisai couldn't help but punch Yu Yang's chest in embarrassment. At the same time, she forbade this lad from looking at her lecherously. After digging out the magic crystals, Yu Yang didn't dig into the mud to chase after the remaining corrosive ghost-faced crabs. He only took a few claws from the remaining ghost-faced crabs' corpses. He gave up on the other crab shells. Originally, those would be the best material for armor. Right now, his priority was to save people. He didn't care about the crab shells. They returned to their original path and swam downstream once again. There was only one reason why they couldn't smell clearly in the water. It was because Jun Yu, Elder Yu Hai, and the other warriors were swam downstream. Hence, the water current had taken away their scent, leaving not much of it. In addition, there was also the smell of the monsters in the water, so even the gold tiger shark with its sensitive sense of smell couldn't differentiate them. As they swam downstream, they met all kinds of strange-looking monsters in the water. Very few of them were bronze-ranked. Most of them were silver-ranked. Gold-ranked monsters could also be seen from time to time. In this ancient passage, there were monsters that were at least Tong Tian Tower level 5 and above. Princess Sisai was a little anxious. She was afraid that something would happen to her father. It wasn't easy for them to come out from the Eastern Goblin tribe. She didn't expect to encounter such a setback. There seems to be something. It's blood. The gold tiger shark suddenly smelled fresh blood and swam forward like an arrow. When it found the source of the blood, Yu Yang discovered that there were still a few drops of blood on a stalactite. The blood had not coagulated yet, proving that the injured people had just left not long ago. The appearance of the blood made Princess Sisai a little flustered. She was afraid that her father and the other warriors had met a strong monster and their lives would be in danger. Her heart was beating very fast. Yu Yang comforted her a little and continued to chase forward. In front of them, a huge waterfall suddenly appeared in front of the cliff. The gold tiger shark that was moving forward at an extremely fast speed couldn't stop in time. It directly brought Yu Yang, who was on its back, and jumped down the waterfall. Princess Sisai and Shui Wuxia hugged Yu Yang tightly. Feeling the excitement of surfing the waterfall, they tried their best not to scream. Before they fell into the water, Yu Yang carried the two girls and used his innate qi to float in the air, slowly descending. The gold tiger shark crashed into the water like a cannonball, creating a 10-meter-high splash. Little Wanli turned into a rainbow light and floated out, pointing in front of them. She had sensed the exact location. There were people in front of them. Yu Yang couldn't wait for the dizzy gold tiger shark to regain its ability to move. He immediately brought the two girls and walked on the water, flying forward. The further they went, the thicker the smell of blood became. In the end, even Princess Sisai and Shui Wuxia could sense it clearly. After advancing for a few kilometers, another huge lake appeared in front of them. Yu Yang, Princess Sisai, and Shui Wuxia saw that Jun Yu, Elder Yu Hai, and a group of warriors were fighting a huge monster miserably. That monster was incomparably ugly, but it was extremely strong. It didn't care about being surrounded and attacked at all. Instead, it caused the warriors to retreat step by step. Yin Pejun and Feng Qisha, who were among the younger generation, had already fainted from their injuries. Even the eagle-eyed guy, who was slightly weaker, was covered in blood. Looks like the one who left the smell of blood along the way was him. Seeing that the situation was critical, Yu Yang couldn't be bothered to pay his respects to Jun Yu and Elder Yu Hai anymore. With a long whistle, he took out the crescent blade and Huijin magic blade on his left and right. Carrying the ice and fire energy of Yin and Yang, he quickly flew towards that huge monster. All right, that brat is finally here. Jun Yu and Elder Yu Hai heaved a sigh of relief when they saw Yu Yang riding on the ice and fire. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.